Monday and welcome to Learning LinkedIn Open to Work. This is our second Open to Work session where we're highlighting candidates and hoping to get people back to work. I'm Matt Wolf, founder and CEO of Ticket Time Machine. Today we have Doug Holtzman as one of our panelists and, of course, my co-host, Jill Haber. Jill, great to see you again. Doug, thanks for coming on. And we're going to get right to it this time. We're not going to do any slides. You can check out our website with all of our previous events where we did give some slides. But we're going to welcome in Jed Davis here. And Jed is going to tell us a little bit about himself and what he's looking for. So let's get right to it.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt, for having me. I really appreciate it. I sat in next week and really like the format and, showcasing candidates like myself. So my true passion really lies within experiential marketing and live events. I have over 12 years experience in the experiential world, strategic event planning, brand and creative management, client service, and then national field team operations with some new business development as well. So I started out right out of college going on tour with Walgreens for an 11-month consecutive tour, and I guess really no turning back from there. After that tour, my first real agency job was with Cardenas Marketing Network, focusing on Hispanic marketing. I managed all of their national tours and event production. A lot of the cool projects I've managed with CMN, I went on tour with Pitbull for his Bud Light sponsorship, which was really good. That's how he kind of found us, through Bud Light sponsorship. Went on tour with him 2 years consecutive. Went on tour with the professional Budweiser Football Kings. Worked with Nike. Done some pretty cool stuff with Cardenas in the Hispanic world of experiential marketing. My role was really focused on alcohol, beverage sampling, and CPG. And then after CMN, I went over to Mosaic. It's a huge experiential marketing agency, and I helped build their experiential marketing programs in the collegiate space for Nestle. So I worked on a lot of Nestle marketing, representing 5 of their CPG brands. Was with Mosaic for 3.5 years, and then went over to Coaster Cycles to help build their new experiential marketing division. We were, at the peak, doing really, really well. And obviously COVID hit. So the CEO and CFO decided to eliminate the position. And throughout the summer of 2020, they pivoted and we started selling PPE face shields. So that kind of got me up into a contract, freelance selling PPE face shields up until October, November. So I kind of am waiting to, it's very exciting that the events world is coming back. And I'm, built my website. Definitely check it out, jedxm.com. And I'm kind of going out on a limb and doing freelance marketing once our industry picks back up. That's a little bit about me, and I love experiential and live events.
Yeah. So the first thing is there's a little bit of feedback. If anyone has the LinkedIn open as we go, that would help. And what was the website? JedXM. Okay.
Yep, jedxm.com.
Yes,
It showcases my brand portfolio and experiential marketing accomplishments of all the programs I've managed over the past 12 years.
So, Jed, you have a really similar background to me. Did a lot of experiential on the beverage and CP side. What is it that you're looking to do? Production, account management? What is your forte? What are you trying to find a role in?
Sure. So I would say my top, what I would really be looking for is more on the mobile marketing, field team management, operations, logistics management. That's kind of my sweet spot. Event sponsorships, making sure everything is buttoned up for the client. You
want to be in the details and out in the field and making it happen.
Yeah, exactly. So, right. But I have a pretty unique background to where I like getting my hands dirty in the field, but I can also be client service and account management as well. But yeah, I would say that my focus would be landing, something more in the field, logistics management, mobile marketing tours, and field team operations.
what have you been doing? You know, obviously with COVID, what have you found to be very helpful in your job search? Maybe something that others can go
Yeah,
off.
I mean, completely honest, I'm heavily connected. I feel like I'm heavily connected in the experiential world. I feel, it's a very competitive market. So, applying for job sites has not been very successful. Using my network and reaching out to people directly, people who I've worked with in the past, let them know that I'm looking. Obviously, I get much more responses of connecting with people I've already worked with who know, my work ethic, what I produce has been super successful. So I would say, making sure that your network is your net worth and just making sure that you're always staying connected to the people that you worked with in the past.
Yeah, and we got Doug on the panel today. Doug has been posting some pretty high level jobs lately. What got you into posting that, and where are you finding them? What are you doing to help, and what kind of advice would you give Jed?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. It's, again, I worked 20 plus years for teams. So I've got a lot of friends, ex-colleagues, et cetera, that are out of jobs and looking. And there's it hurts, it pains you when you know that, again, they're let go, not for what they're doing actually in work, right? They're let go for COVID related reasons. And, it's my turn to step up and make sure that they know these jobs that are out there. If not, like, kind of shame on me. And I've always said that. And let's get them back, get them going. They're good people. And it's kind of like paying it forward, right? But we're helping out our circle and even outside our circle to get people back and going. I find them all over the place. Again, it's funny, since I've been posting it, a lot of people are sending me these jobs and like, hey, Doug, can you do me a favor and post this for me? Which is kind of funny, right? And but again, I say to people all the time, there's, Jill, you do an awesome job of posting jobs and just don't just apply, like I said, and just don't just look on teamwork and this. You've got to reach out to someone who know these people, because you've got to get, as I always say, on the left side of the column. Don't get on the right side of the column. You're not going to get seen. You've got to get on their left side. So Jed, if you have someone like, let's say myself, hey, this person, great. Doug, can you reach out to him for me? And people, if they don't, again, shame on them if they're not reaching out and trying to help you.
Yeah, you would think hopefully they would. And that's, one of the things we actually encouraged people to do last time was, tell us who are your, who would be a great fit for you? Like, is there a company or an organization that you're targeting? Because somebody listening might know, somebody there might know. So we always like to hear, you have a great range of experience within the events, within sports and organizations. So do you have anything that you've targeted lately, or specific?
Well, I could say this, what I've noticed lately. HR jobs they're starting to hire. That's a great sign right there, because we know once HR people are back there, we know what they're going to be doing. They're going to be hiring. So I love seeing that. We need to get these people filled these jobs quickly, so then they can start hiring for their respective organizations and companies.
Yeah.
But that's huge.
I completely agree with you on that. I would say, I've seen a lot of uptick in, the corporate recruiting, and I need, success and, finding people. And even in the past 2 weeks, I've seen a huge uptick in, conversations around the events world. So it's exciting, and I think it's promising. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but this summer, again, it's not going to be large scale events, but I'm feeling very confident where we're headed over the past couple of weeks. It's just very refreshing and exciting to see at least conversations are happening again.
And the thing to think about now is that the events, even if they're not happening tomorrow, you need to start preparing today. They need to start hiring today for an event. They need to start hiring now. So, now is a real great time. It's always going to be competitive. It's going to get even more competitive. But Chet, was there anyone that you were targeting, or is there any like wish list companies or
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm pretty open. I've been having some amazing conversations with a lot of, I think my sweet spot is, a lot of brands these days, as we know, they have their agencies of records. So a lot of brands won't, I'm not going to say all, but they go to their experiential marketing agencies who hire for them. So my sweet spot, I believe, is going to be partnering with, a lot of my connections in the agency world who, need people to execute on the ground, as soon as possible when budgets do get signed and things start, hitting again. So I'm positioning myself I'm pretty much open to, I've worked on a ton of different brands. But I would say, alcohol, beverage, CPG, lifestyle, entertainment is, something, that interests me. Obviously, I have experience and background in it, but I'm pretty open.
Where are you located? I don't know if you told us.
San Diego.
Yeah,
but I mean, I with CMN, I was, I was known as the road warrior. I traveled over 200 days out of the year for, to execute national mobile marketing tours. So definitely, I know with COVID and stuff, travel has been eliminated. It's not so much you have to travel on these programs anymore. You can pretty much manage from a national level, but no stranger to traveling, and I love being on the road.
Get the bus tour going.
Yep, there you go.
Jill, you were saying something?
No, you actually hit exactly what I was going to say, Matt, which was the long lead ramp up period for anything that's going to happen. Super Bowl next year is in Los Angeles. You're not very far away. There's definitely going to be a lot of opportunity out here in LA. So,
what can you tell the people listening some struggles or something that has bothered you or throughout this search? Because I think there's a lot of people who are feeling a lot of the same things, and they want to know that they're not alone in that. And also maybe if we express it enough, like the ghosting of people that you've already talked to, where they've been through 3 or 4 rounds, maybe we can get that to stop as well.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Ghosting is definitely one of those things where, again, it's the job market, especially with experiential events. Everybody is competing right now. I would say I would have to remind myself that, if you're truly passionate about the industry, a lot of people have left the industry and they have gone on to, pursue other things. But somebody like me, I'm waiting around. I'm luckily in a position where I can wait around and, until it rebounds. But I would say just, be patient because it is coming back. And, I keep stressing of, if you apply, I see apply to these job postings and, over 250 applicants on every single job posting. So, if you have connections, if you know people at agencies, if you know people at brands, shoot them a note. And like Doug was saying, if they don't try to, help you out, shame on them, because everybody, a personal connection can go a long way. But I'm applying everywhere, and I'm I'm not just reaching out to my personal network. I am applying to job boards, but I'm kind of experiencing the same thing as these recruiters will talk to you, and then you don't hear anything else back. But I would just say remain patient. Every no leads to your perfect yes, and that the right thing will come along. So just stay positive.
Good advice.
Always have faith on that. It
Yes.
just takes one, and it might not even be your perfect yes right now. It might be just a yes to get you to that perfect.
Right.
You might need to go, somewhere else first to do that. But it's look, keep doing what you're doing. We're all here to help where we can. That's why we have stuff like this. A lot of great talent we've had on last time. We got a lot of great candidates that are on today. This is our Open to Work Town Hall, a part of our Learning LinkedIn series. I think this is our 5th one.
It is.
Maybe, yeah. So we've had a great panel. Alana wants to connect with the panel. Of course, we have other panelists that were on previously that might join us today, like Jen Corsilli and Lee Meltzer. And so if you, and I'm not sure if Alana, you want to come on and talk about what you're looking for or what you're hiring, but if there's anyone out in the audience, put some comments, highlight yourself. We'll bring it up on the screen. If you want to come up to into the show, do that. We have some time later on. We got a full slate of candidates coming. So Jed, we're gonna let you go and
awesome.
bring it on.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, give us the last second pitch. What do you want people to know, and just tell us.
I'm building my own website. I feel I'm kind of branding myself as an experienced and results driven marketer who wears many hats. That's kind of what our industry is known for. Experiential marketers are very passionate about what they do, and we can do a lot of good things in the space, hard workers. So I would just say, if you have any mobile marketing tours, field team operations, anything like that coming up, or you need any help planning, I'm your go-to guy, and just let me know and we can discuss on partnership opportunities.
Perfect. Well, Jed Davis, hopefully you'll get some more visibility here.
Good conversations are happening. I'm very confident in the next few weeks we'll have some good news.
I think so too. Have a great day and good
Yep,
luck.
you too.
Let us know what comes of anything, and we're rooting for you like we're rooting for everyone.
Yep. And if I can do anything for you guys or anybody that wants to learn more about the experiential space, just please feel free to contact me. I'm always open to chat.
Appreciate it. All right. We
Yep.
are going to say goodbye to Jed, and we're going to say hello to Carrie. Carrie, welcome to Open to Work. Tell us who you are and what you're looking for. Also, tell us where you're at. That we forgot to do that the first time. Tell us where you're at.
Hi guys, I am Carrie Grau. I'm a almost 17-year experience marketing communications PR professional. I am based in northern New Jersey. I'm about 10 miles outside of New York City. Most of my background has been in sports and entertainment as well as CPG, both agency and in-house, team and agency side. So really looking for next role in something where I can be that senior leader, be that senior voice, be able to lead strategy, lead a team, but as well still have my fingers on the pulse of media and still deal with the media I've been working with for my entire career.
Great. We're going to put your LinkedIn here up there. So tell us a little bit about your experience. 17 years is a long time. Tell us, what were you involved in that you really liked and enjoyed and feel like was in your wheelhouse?
I've been very lucky that I've had some really phenomenal experience. I started my career out at the NHL league office prior to the first big work stoppage in 04-05. Working on everything from international TV and PR to fan development. Have worked at the NBA on the league office side with NBA TV, have worked New York Roadrunners with the Marathon, spent a good chunk of my career at Prudential Center with the New Jersey Devils, really doing the building side. So concerts, family shows, UFC, boxing, WWE. Went agency side, worked with PepsiCo and AB InBev on a lot of the AOR work. So it was still sports and entertainment, but still did product launches. For me, I love dealing with media. I think to be able to guide clients, you have to know what the media landscape is. You have to be talking to media. You have to be ingesting media. And it's not just on the surface level. It's not what can you do for me lately? It's building these deep relationships with media that you can be able to pick up the phone, drop a text message, and be able to get results and answers without having to jump through the hoops of, okay, let me email you to set up a call, to then talk it through, to then email, to then go back and forth, to be able to have these deep, meaningful conversations and have it happen quickly so you can deliver for clients, to me is huge.
And what have you been doing since, your last job? What have you found that's been working for you with regards to helping out your profile in the job search?
So my last full-time gig, I was unfortunately in the first block of cuts from Iheart Media at the early part of 2019. So I've been doing a lot of consulting work. I've been doing a lot of freelance work. Prior to the pandemic, I was doing a lot of speaking opportunities. I was speaking at colleges, doing a lot of guest lecturing, be it at Rutgers University, at my alma mater at Springfield College, was doing some guest speaking on some podcasts. And that's helped just to be able to widen the network and to be able to keep up with ongoing trends and be relevant and to help build my own brand. The process has not been easy. It was having some really great conversations with folks before the pandemic hit. And then once everything shut down, conversations shut down. So you're starting to see that pick up now, but still trying to figure out that next full-time opportunity because like most folks, I would like a steady paycheck and health insurance again.
Yeah, that certainly would be great, right? That's what we're looking to do here. So we have a couple of people who want to know how they can get help. Kelsey, we're going to have someone email you the link. We have some time later on in the program. I think our 4:30 just opened up as well, 4:30 Eastern, so in about an hour. And we got David. Thanks for the support. David was on the last episode here, and hopefully he's having some good conversations now. Carrie, are you targeting anything? We always ask, who are you targeting? Is there organizations or companies? So just in case some of us know someone there, or someone listening knows someone there.
Ideally, I'm looking to stay overarching consumer, would love to be able to still drill into that sports entertainment music space that I've been playing in throughout my career. But at the same time, I've got the CPG. So for me, the overarching goal is to still stay that wide B2C consumer. But if the brand plays in that sports and entertainment space or it's agency league, I'm ideally open to it. Same goes on the music side for radio or labels as well.
What did you really like about working for Iheart? I know there are a lot of fun events that they're involved with. Were you on the event side, the radio side?
I was a little bit of both. So they actually created the position for me to come on board. I worked for the New York cluster market. They had never had dedicated PR, marketing, communication support. So they wanted me to build a team and a lane from the ground up. It was not only working on the 6 stations we had in market and the on-air talent, but the tentpole events. So things like Jingle Ball All Access Lounge, LC Fest, Powerhouse, Flip the Switch for Light FM, but then helped them launch iHeartRadio Broadway, which was the first free streaming hub for Broadway music and show tunes. A local market had never taken on a national platform before. So it was helping teach them, this is what a PR strategy is. This is how you launch a brand. This is what an exclusive is. This is how you roll it under embargo. This is how we do a launch event. So it was really from the ground up, as well as teaching the cluster itself what earned media and PR really was. We were, before I was unfortunately let go, was teaching the cluster how to integrate earned media as a sellable asset.
Yeah, all good experience that, hopefully will help you with the next one. It's funny, I grew up in New Jersey, so Z100 was my radio station. Obviously, iHeart. Now I'm in South Florida with Y100, and they're essentially now the same radio station. So very familiar with iHeart. I was over at the iHeart Outdoor Festival in Vegas. I guess that was 2 years ago now. A lot of great events for them. What have you found helpful in your job search that might help other people?
Trying to stay as positive as possible. I know the gentleman on before me, it gets so hard because you're in such a wide pool and you see all these opportunities and you're sending your resume and you're reaching out to folks and you're networking, and you either get radio silence or don't hear back, or you have initial conversations and then you get ghosted. It's trying to keep that balance of staying professionally persistent, trying to stay positive, but at the same time, realizing looking for a job is a full-time job. So you do need to set boundaries and give yourself time off, because you can't sit at a laptop or on the phone or on a tablet 14 hours a day trying to look for something. You're going to burn yourself out, and making sure you schedule and carve out time for yourself. Be it, are you reading? Are you going out and taking a walk? Are you doing, physical activity? What are you doing to take care of you in the midst of all of it?
Yeah, I used to say, well, I was unemployed for quite a bit back in the day, and someone was saying, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? I'm like, look, I can't sit and apply to jobs all day. It's just, there's not enough of them. You need to keep yourself sane, and be strong and be ready for when you do have that opportunity. You should always apply for a lot of things, but certainly want to focus in on what you want. So there's also a fine balance between just, clicking a button these days is not going to work. Trying to stand out is something good, especially in a PR world or an experiential marketing like Jed was. Have you seen anything out there that has been really creative that you thought maybe I could try this? Or I'll ask that to Jill and Doug also after Carrie.
A lot of folks now have been trying to do these like sizzle videos of, be it, elevator pitches and everything else. Some applications are asking you for it. I think it's creative, but I haven't seen any ROI on them.
Yeah.
And I understand that folks also want to see your creativity and your flow, and they might ask for not just writing samples, but like actual projects and bodies of work, which there's such a fine line there, because it's your own IP, and you don't want a brand, and I'm hoping brands aren't taking these ideas and running with them, and then you're kind of out of luck if the process doesn't go forward, and you put in 20, 30, 40 hours of work on a deck and a presentation, and it goes for naught. So there's that fine line, especially at a more senior level. You've got a body of work, you've got references, your resume and your reputation should be able to stand on that without having to dive into a 40-page deck and giving us a full strategy.
Yeah.
I had that happen at a previous job, a job I actually was at for a couple of years, but I replied back by asking them to give me something that would be hypothetical in nature and something they couldn't actually use, and they did. After I got the job and took the job, it certainly was something they could never have used in actual practicality. So I felt okay doing that. I totally agree with you on that, though, Carrie. Giving your time and your IP and your energy to something that, if you don't get the job, they can still take with them to me, there's an ethical issue there.
Yeah, I see. I think you probably can send them whatever you've already done. And it could be a fictional example, but it's tough. Sometimes you have to do it and maybe just take that chance. I don't know. I can tell you, I once, long time ago, when my resume stunk, I put together a PowerPoint presentation. At the last one was a David Letterman countdown, like the top 10 reasons to hire Matt Wolf. It was really terribly done, but something different. My sister told me the story of someone who sent a baby shoe to someone, mailed it back in the day, and said, I just want to get my foot in the door. So, anything that really can get someone's attention, the gimmicky type stuff, just to get their attention, and then you got to take care of it from there. Anything you guys have seen, Jill and Doug, maybe to give some people advice?
What I advise a lot of people to say, remember, they're interviewing you, but guess what? You're interviewing them. And don't be afraid to ask tough questions, especially now during COVID, because not every business is succeeding right now, right? So ask tough questions and literally don't be afraid to walk away, right? And to me, apply for everything. You could always pull out of any job that whatever, right? But ask tough questions, right? And literally say to them, like, I want to know where you're at. Like, this is because, again, you're asking my family to join your family. And this is a two-way street. And I think by doing that, they're going to respect you. I'm not saying they don't, but they're going to really respect you for that. And again, I challenge them. I challenge people all the time. And the other thing I just said, I loved how you said, make this a full-time job. What I'd also add to that is almost like give yourself a task every day, right? So I'm going to apply for 20 jobs today. I'm going to reach out to blank people today. I'm going to do this. Just do that because it gets you things to do. Again, this is your full-time job. And then at least once a day, put stuff up on LinkedIn. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Like, if you would have said this to me 2 years ago, I'd be like, that's so full of BS. It is crazy. Just one thing a day that you put on, start notice and like a bunch of stuff and start noticing how many people then are starting to follow you, like you, etc. And all of a sudden you're like an influencer. It's overnight. It'll happen. Right. And just continue and stay positive. Right. I mean, at the end of the day, this all sucks. We all know. Right. But you just want to do it. What's your goal? Right. Get a job and move on. Open up that next chapter of your life. Right. That's your goal, and utilize your friends, your family, colleagues, ex-colleagues, etc., and get them to say, hey, I need to open up this new chapter. Can you help? We'd love for you to help, because you're going to do the same exact thing for them when they need it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Carrie.
That's been a huge eye opener for me. I had one post last year just before the pandemic hit that went semi-viral because it was me basically opening up and being completely honest, saying, I'm about to run out of unemployment. I have been out of work almost a year. For everyone who I have ever made introductions to, given free tickets to, have helped along the way, this is me now asking for help. This is me now. I'm not asking for you to hand me a job. I'm asking for you to help open up a door, pass along a resume, make an introduction. I had more complete and utter strangers reach out and say, how can I help? I am, blown away by how honest you were being. What can I do? Then my network and some folks that I have been working with since I started my career as long as I did.
That was I had some experience, Carrie.
And for me, I'm very much the proponent of paying it forward. If I didn't have folks helping me out when I was an undergrad and helping get my foot at the door at the league office just because they were an alumni of where I went to college, there's no way I would have been able to move up. So I'm very much that way. So if someone reaches out to me, it's how can I help? How can I make the introduction? And then now when push comes to shove and I'm asking for that help, it's eye-opening and slightly mind-boggling to see how many people don't realize that the shoe could be on the other foot for them. This could be them, they might be okay right now, but 6 months, a year, 2 years down the line, they might be in a similar situation or need something and try to reach out and have similar problems. So I'm very much, trying to make sure that if someone asks for help, even though I'm in not a great situation, there's somebody worse off than I am. There's always folks that need the help, and we're all in this together. This isn't, I like it. I am not one of those catty PR people. That has never been my shtick. That has never been my MO. I liken myself to a concierge. I am there to help make media's job easy and as seamless as possible while still doing right by my clients. So that's, my approach as I go into, trying to help and network.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, everyone needs to ask for what you want. Go to ask the people in all of your networks and, people who maybe aren't in your network right now in LinkedIn or anything else, Facebook, because there might be people there who can help, or, Twitter and Instagram. Hey, hell, do a TikTok video. I don't know. But just asking people, because you're absolutely right, Carrie. The strangers are going to reach out and want to help you, maybe even more than your network does, and the people who can. I'm a big proponent of helping people. I just like you said, I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have a lot of help from a lot of people. We're going to get Leah on here in a minute, and we have some other people. If you're out there in the audience, send us in the comments what you guys are looking for. If you're hiring, send us anything. We'll highlight it and bring it in. If you want to come on the show, we have a couple people. We're going to bring in a couple slots left. Carrie, before we let you go, you got some great experience. Is there anything you want to brag about on? Like, everyone's got to brag on what they did. Any specific project or moment in your career so far that you just like to point out and maybe get people to know about?
Yeah, for me, it was my work on PepsiCo for North American Beverage while I was at PMK. I came on board not having, a heck of a lot of agency experience. The first agency I was at was Micro Boutique, and they threw me in feet first. I ran their whole entire Super Bowl campaign in 2018 with Justin Timberlake. So it was, we had 1.6 billion media impressions from the entire Super Bowl campaign, from halftime show to TVC to the new brand campaign that they were launching. And that was a 56% increase year over year. So I was able to drive business in a big, big way for them for that campaign. So I'm really, really proud of that.
Oh, that sounds like great work.
Carrie, I know we have to get to the next person, Matt. Sorry, really quickly. In ideal world, pie in the sky, is your ideal job at a brand, at an agency, at a team, at a venue? Where would you say that is?
Dream job. I'd love to go back league side again. The NHL league job that I had, even though it was an internship and a paid associate gig, it was fantastic to be able to impact not only at a league level, but at a team level and TV wise. But at the same time, I know, my skill set can take me anywhere. I just ideally want to find the right role with the right people doing really, really good work. That's, at the end of the day, what really matters to me. League would be great. Team would be great. But I'm really, really open to finding I want to do good work. That's what, at the end of the day, that's what matters. You spend more time with your work family than you do your own family. So that's what I really want to find.
Yeah. Right. Carrie, how do we say your last name? I think I might have said it wrong.
It's Grau.
Grau. Carrie Grau. we put up her LinkedIn, PR, communications. Another great candidate. I mean, we just got one good candidate after the next, and we're hopeful and that you'll have something soon. And definitely let us know how we can help connect with the panelists. They're always posting great jobs. I know I've sent you a few PR jobs that I found that could be good. I have some friends in PR that if you're not connected with them, you definitely should. And we hope to hear some good news from you soon.
Thanks guys. And still goes. If there's anything I can do to help anybody else, please always feel free. We're all in this together.
Perfect. All right, Carrie, we're going to bring on Leah now. Thanks, Carrie.
Thanks.
And Leah dropped again. She was in there a second ago, so Leah's gonna join back again.
Hey, Matt, I got to tell you something cool. So while I've been on this, right, my LinkedIn's been blowing up. So we have Carla Hernandez that has got a message to, I think, Jill and myself right there. David as well. So I love seeing this stuff.
Yeah, a lot of good collaboration here. We got Leah. I met Leah on Clubhouse in a room, and we've talked a lot since. So Leah, welcome to the Open to Work show here today. Tell everybody who you are and what you're looking for. And yeah.
Hi, can you hear me? Number one.
I hear you loud and clear.
I keep getting kicked. Okay, cool. Hi everyone. My name is Leah Urbano. I live in Western Mass. I am an event producer, artist manager, marketer, woman of many trades, and I am looking for work. Ideally, in a perfect world, I would love to find a company that needs someone to develop their events. And of course, in the world of COVID right now, over the past year, I would say the job market, you'd see one or two listings. Now I'm seeing hundreds, which is amazing. The only issue is there's thousands of applicants, just like me. So having an opportunity like this to connect with Matt and, be part of this platform and this presentation, I'm so grateful to, showcase my talents and just put myself out into the world to say I'm here and this is what I do and what I'd really like to get back into.
Yeah, and Leah, I mean, Leah looking for work herself has helped me out tremendously just by having conversations, and we're always pinging each other into Clubhouse. Talk a little bit about what I know. We're looking for events and some management. You have a pretty good past. Talk a little bit about what you've done and maybe what you'd like to do again. Maybe more specifically mentioning industry or companies or organizations. Just
Sure.
so someone knows.
Sure. Well, my career spans about 25 years. Don't want to age myself. But it started when I was 14 years old, and we used to have shows in my house. And then I moved to San Francisco, and we used to have shows in our house, big warehouse. And I volunteered at Maximum Rock and Roll and Blacklist Mail Order, and music became my life. And so since then, working with different promoters and things, I've produced a lot of concerts and events, had the chance to work on a lot of festivals and things like that. So, when I was with Thomas Kincaid, the Painter of Light, for 13 years, we did collector events for 3,000 to 5,000 art collectors in big ballrooms all around the country. Then moving home, I started with Mass Concerts in 2000. That's the second largest concert company in New England. And I've done hospitality for them, production managing at many different clubs from arena size down to about 350 cap room. Vans Warped Tour, Kevin Lyman is my mentor and bestest human in the music industry who has always had my back. So I was able to not only have my clients on the tour for many, many years, I also curated my own Crimson stage for Mansfield for a number of years, New England Metal and Hardcore Fest, Rock and Shock, which is a horror and music convention. I did that for 13 years, Metal Fest for 17. I booked all the metal for Heavy Fest for 2 years, a couple years back. And then this past summer, I did a drive-in movie theater concept 4 days a week in Farmington, Connecticut. Phew.
What has
Great
been,
experience.
That
I see you on Clubhouse, obviously on LinkedIn. What have you found useful for yourself as part of a job search that others might find useful for them?
I think the hardest part is the fact that there's so many of us in my field that are looking. So sharing jobs, if you see something that you think a friend would be interested in, share it with them, but networking, and I am guilty of this so hard. I have networks. My networks are thousands of people deep from a 20-year plus career. And I feel like one of my rude awakenings over the past month or so is utilizing those networks. If you've got it, if you apply and you see that someone you're connected with works at the company, hit them up. That's something that is hard to do because you may not have spoken to that person in a while, but generally they're happy to hear from you, and you do get exclamation points in the sentences. And if you get those, see it through. So I'd say that's something that is difficult, but people don't even realize there's people right at your fingertips. And if you ask for help, they will try to help you.
Yeah, I agree with that. You're looking at three of them, and we've had other panelists and all the people, even the ones that come on looking for work, are always looking to help. I think it's it's great advice. What has been a struggle? And obviously, you mentioned having a lot of people competing. Is there something else that's been a struggle for you that you want to share, that maybe some other people might share that same sentiment and kind of feel more like I'm not alone with this?
Sure. And, I've seen it a lot posted on LinkedIn. It's, for instance, there's a position that I thought for sure I'd be a shoo-in. My resume, it matched the job description to a T pretty much. And a friend of mine works for this particular company, hit her up. She fell over, we were excited. She sent it up the line, and I got the rejection letter last night from the auto do not reply, but you're amazing and you're off. And at first I was like, holy crap, really? And then I went, all right, so what is the lesson and what can you do? So now I'm like, do I look awesome on paper? Do I look awesome on LinkedIn? Am I interesting enough to get that person? And it's all about that person. Once the ATS system does its job, and if it even gets to a person, why are they picking resumes for what reason? And then I go, oh, well, it's a person. They might not see something that pertains to them on my resume to pick it out. So when you get those rejection letters, know that you're putting your best foot forward and try to continue to put your best foot forward. But you could just be the luck of the draw where the person might like someone else because of the college they went to.
It could be as simple as, Leah, you have 20 years of experience. Maybe they don't think they can afford you. It literally can come down to that too. And it's a shame that you never get to that conversation. I had something very similar happen to me where I applied for a job. It was to run a sponsorship with the NASCAR team. The NASCAR team who sold them the sponsorship literally asked them to consider me for the job. And then I got the same thing, which was the thank you, but no thank you. So you never know. And I think you had a good point where you can theorize what happened. You can think about it. They probably won't tell you from a legal standpoint. They maybe won't, but it's usually not a reflection of who you are. It usually is something on that person's end, the college, your experience, someone's lack of experience.
I agree.
Be a great candidate. That's even better. Who knows? Two things I would say, and one, always send a thank you note, after every time you speak to someone, regardless.
Yeah.
You meet with 5 of them, send 5.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is, if you can get some feedback, always ask for feedback. Like Jill said, they might not tell you, It might be kind of BS, but you always want to ask for the feedback just in case. Maybe it's something you did and you didn't even realize you did it. But yeah, well, we're gonna get Carla on in a second. I see her waiting in our green room. But Leah, tell everyone, one last time, what you want to say for the people who are looking to hire.
Yeah, I mean, and going back to the rejection letter real fast, it's for me, I know there are a lot of people out of work. So then I just go, you know what? Someone in my field got that job. There's a job for me, but I want to be on top of it.
Great way to look at it.
I don't want to have that ego and go, well, why didn't I get that job? It's like, well, what more can you do? Because there's quite a few people looking, and you just need to keep putting your best foot forward. And that's what keeps me going. That's how I don't get depressed.
Hey, Leah, I would say this, right? Hall of Fame baseball players get out 7 out of 10 times,
Yep.
right? So you're going to hear a lot of no's before you hear that yes. And one quick thing that I'd also say is maybe you get someone to remember at the beginning of the process when you're looking for that job and you're sending that resume in, sometimes there's these algorithms, right? It's all technology these days. So
Yeah.
you may want to get somebody that's like a professional person that could look at your resume and just say he or she will know the right words, the right numbers, et cetera, to put in your resume that could get you on that left side of the pile. But then continue to search someone that could also get you in. So apply both. And then have your 3 or 4 closers, right? That once you have that interview, hey, closer number 1 comes in and calls them. Closer number 2 comes in and shoots them an email about you, right? So you've got like those 3 people, like these are my people. They're going to really help.
Oh.
Think about it from step 1 all the way to closing that game.
Joe, who did we have that was good on the resume?
Karen Curran was on our first one, and she is great at looking at resumes, especially she has an experiential background as an HR person. So Leah, I've connected with you on LinkedIn. So when you get a chance, I can help you. I can send you to Karen. But one piece of advice she gave us, which was awesome, and I did not know about, was on your resume. Let's just assume your resume is on a white background, right? Most people's are. You can put keywords that an ATS system will pick up and just put them anywhere on the piece of paper and make them white. So that way they're picked up, but somebody naked eye looking at the resume can't see that.
Yes, I've heard that. That was a tip a friend of mine gave me a few years back.
You love all the gimmicks.
I love
gimmicks get you in the door.
My mind is blown.
Right? It's so good.
You do.
Leah, you have a really good background. Do you have a website or a portfolio or anything that you can send us on LinkedIn and then we can put up here?
Everything's on my LinkedIn profile in detail. Like LinkedIn profile has everything.
Perfect.
But yeah,
thanks for joining us, Leah. We're happy to help any way we can. We want to hear some good news from you soon, and keep up the good work. Appreciate you joining today.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Leah.
Thanks, Leah. We're going to welcome Carla. Carla, how are you? I know Doug was saying you connected with him, but we're glad to have you on. We tried to make it work, I think, the last time, but we're happy to have you here. So tell everyone who you are and what you're looking for.
Yeah, thank you so much for hosting this. I attended a few in the past, so this is a really great resource. So first, I want to thank everyone. I'm Carla. I'm based in Los Angeles, and I come from a music and events background as well. I've worked in music probably for 12 years now, done everything from record labels, artist management, digital marketing, and most recently events. I really found that my true passion is events and festivals and bringing people together. My focus is on diversity, inclusion, and celebrating different cultures. So that's embedded in all of my work, and I really love finding new talents and amplifying their work. My last job before COVID was working for a festival called Lightning in a Bottle, and I worked in the art installations, bringing in 30+ groups that came and built art installations and interactive areas. In 2019, I got a chance to showcase my own art installation, which was really cool. It was called Playa del Lámpago, and it was the first Latin focus area at the festival that played reggaeton, salsa, bachata music. We had like salsa classes. So it was really celebrating that culture and that music, and it was a hit. There was a blog in LA that called it one of the highlights, so that was really fun. So yeah, I have a strong background in project management and admin, but a lot of creative as well. I love creating things. And like I said, like really finding different artists and graphic designers with different backgrounds and bringing them together.
And what have you found helpful in your job search since?
And things like this, connecting with other people. I had a conversation with Jen after the last panel that you hosted, and she connected me with a lot of people. So yeah, just talking to other people to see what they're doing, getting tips and tricks. That's helped a lot.
Yeah, DEI very, very big right now. Obviously, a lot of good webinars where you can connect and just network in the chat. That's something that I always like to do to network, is just join these webinars. I'm not even so much concerned about what the material is, the content, but who's in the chat. Posting my LinkedIn, telling people that you're looking for work. I think that's something that's helped me grow my network, and so I would definitely suggest that for people who are looking for work. Even networking right here in this and talking in the comments, in the chats. It's I think it's helpful. Doug, anything? I know we're going to lose you in a little bit.
Yeah. No, again, I just say, I say this to everyone, just continue to stay positive, right? That's the biggest thing. It's you got to be mentally strong, right? And because if you aren't, you're kind of already behind the 8 ball, right? When you're going into things. So just continue to stay strong, be positive about things. Again, you're going to hear no's. We all know that, right? But look for that job that you want, and kind of think about, as I say, I'd say for the next 12 to 24 months, right? I'm saying this, but I hate to say it at the same time. Think of this as it's more going to be a job, right? You may not get your perfect career fit, but you're going to get hopefully that job, right? That's getting you paid, getting more stuff on your resume, etc. I think in 2 years it'll go back to careers, right? On that one, again, this is your career, but think of it that next 2 years is I need to get a job that's going to help, right? And I'm gonna help out whoever I get that job with.
Yeah, Carla, did you tell us where you were from? I always forget to ask.
I'm in Los Angeles.
You're in LA, okay, right down the street from jail, and you're bilingual. Bilingual.
Yes, yeah, I'm fluent in Spanish.
Is that a job, like an area that you focus on, something that is bilingual, or it's not something that you have focused on in the past? Because it's a very great quality and skill to have.
100%.
Yeah, not yes and no. I have had a few years ago, I worked with a singer. His name is Pepe Aguilar, who is like one of the biggest stars in mariachi music, and obviously that came in handy. But yeah, it does. Like I do use it, and I do listen to a lot of music in Spanish, so it is helpful. But I don't have to have a job where I use it.
No.
Hey, Carla, think of it as what's going to separate you from competitors, right? You've got something that Matt does not have, that I don't have. You have it right now. So don't be afraid to use that. Use it.
Might be a little bit more prevalent in LA and Miami where I'm at.
True.
I used to see all these great jobs, and I'm like, I don't speak that language.
100%. I can do Yiddish a little bit, but I just only know the cuss words. That's it. That's all I've got.
We know that, a little bit of that too. So, Carla,
right.
a lot of music in your background. Is that something you're looking to stay in?
Yeah, ideally, but I'm really open as well. Like I said, like just amplifying culture and celebrating culture. So any program management and other art fields. I recently applied for a job at Facebook, and they were hiring for a project manager doing art installations. So like I find jobs like that where like I had no idea they were doing art related or music stuff. Like Instagram, I think is hiring for a music partnerships manager. So like I am finding other ways to connect it that also makes sense, and are exciting.
Social media are hiring for something that you might be good for. Twitch and Instagram, and it's getting pretty big out there. We're going to put your Linktree up here. Linktree is, for people who don't know, it's kind of like a great website thing. You can get it for free. You do have paid levels. I have a Linktree myself, and I kind of highlight my social responsibility on there, but you can use kind of whatever you want as just sort of a website, your own website. It's very easy to do. What what's on your link tree for people? And we're going to put the link here, but
Yeah, I use it more to showcase my curation. So again, like amplifying other artists that a band that I'm listening to, an event that I'm excited about, an organization that I feel people should support. So it's kind of showing my vast knowledge of different stuff that's out there.
are you changing that daily, weekly? How are you managing it?
I change it weekly.
Weekly.
Yeah.
I haven't changed. I got to get back to changing mine. Or adding to it or building it out. It's a very good resource. Linktree is. Doug, I know you got to go. Any last minute advice for everyone?
The biggest thing, smile, right? Just smile and have fun with it, right? Life's too short, right? And let's, again, it's just smile, rely on your friends, your family, your ex-coworkers, et cetera, and work hard, right? And I always say good things come to good people, but don't be afraid to reach out to people. I get so pissed off when people won't reach out. Like if you see something, reach out to them, right?
I'm always asking.
The worst you can hear is no.
Yeah.
I always ask people who are you applying to, and someone told me this company. I said, look, I'm talking to that person right now. I don't have a great relationship with them, but I'm happy to put in a word for you. Say, look, I'm talking to someone who's applied for this job. I think you should take a look at them. So, Doug, we appreciate having you on.
Thank you very much.
Doug.
We're going to get on for a little bit more and hear more about your past and what you're doing. Is there anything? Thanks, Doug. Anything you want to brag on? Talk about a specific project that you're really proud of that you were a part of. Let us know.
Yeah. Well, I thought Doug's point about maybe finding just a job that just helps for now. I think that's a great point because I have been freelancing and I've done a few virtual events, so that's a whole other thing. Where like now I can do virtual events, which is great. I've also been volunteering with an organization called Diversify the Stage, which is creating equitable opportunities and pathways for more people of color, people from the queer community to get jobs in live events industry. So that's been great. I helped them start a mentorship program. We have a cohort of 25 young women who are trying to get into the industry. So I helped them, formulate a mentorship program. So that's been great. Just trying to also help other people while I have the time.
I think that's a really important point that you and a couple other people have mentioned when we've done these is keeping yourself busy. So somebody said it earlier, Carrie said it earlier, it's a full-time job to find a full-time job, right? But you also have to balance that with things that are kind of keeping you sharp. I know that project I was freelancing for kept me very sharp and kept me kind of all right, I don't feel like I've been out of work. So it's kind of almost a mental trick, volunteering, paying whatever it is, you're getting paid whatever it is, you're keeping yourself occupied, you're keeping your brain going, and you feel like you're kind of giving back on a purpose. And so I think that's great is, being able to have that, being able to put that on your resume that you haven't just spent, the past however long it's been for people, looking for a job, but you've been keeping yourself busy doing things.
Exactly. You never know who you're going to meet as well through that.
Exactly.
In the most unexpected ways. Like if you're just helping and then whoop, there's a job.
Yeah.
It's funny how timing is everything. Who I joined random happy hours and just random webinars, and it's I could have not joined it, and then I wouldn't have met some of these people that I've met who I've been able to help, who've been able to help me. So just putting yourself out there as much as you can in a lot of different platforms like this, like Clubhouse, like Linktree, going to webinars, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is, interacting with people the more people that you interact with in your world, and it's not only your world, it's also their world, right? So we always say, click like, click share, comment. Every time you click like, it gives the opportunity for your whole network to see it, and then they click like, and their whole network can see it. So just staying positive. You won't be unemployed forever. I was unemployed for a very long time and eventually got something that turned out to be, the best thing for me. And just stay at it. You got to get a leg ahead up on people because there's a lot of good competition. We got a lot of good candidates here. Some of them are looking for sort of the same thing, but there's enough jobs out there for everyone to get what they want, I believe. And so,
yeah, and use your resources. I'm in LA. If you ever see that, I know somebody, I don't always know them personally, just because I've got a lot of LinkedIn connections, but if I do, I'm always happy to say, This is Carla. I, make the caveat. I've never worked with her, but I've met her and I think she's great. So give her a consideration.
Great. Thank you.
Anything else you want to share with everyone out there before we bring on Caitlin, and we're going to bring Sarah to the panel?
Yeah, just thank you again and best wishes for everyone, and feel free to reach out. I think sometimes it helps just to talk to someone else also going through the same thing. I talked with someone named Emily who Jen connected with me, and we just laughed for 30 minutes, just sharing experience, and that helps too.
That's great.
Great. So Carla, looking for in music, doing DEI, project management, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Great.
Awesome.
Another great candidate we have. Hopefully get some good news from you coming up. But as Jill said, if any of us can help, let us know, and we're happy to do it.
Great. Thank you.
Good luck, Carla.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. We're going to bring on Sarah to the panel, and then we're going to bring Caitlin on to highlight herself. But Sarah, thanks for joining us. Sarah is, tell everyone who you are and why you're here. We chose you as part of the panel to help some of our candidates.
Yes, I'm a manager. I do people operations and culture for Team Whistle. And we actually are hiring. I have about, I think, 7 open positions right now that we're filling across New York, LA, Charlotte, and even London. So I'm really glad to be here and be able to speak about our experience on the recruiting side and just hear from candidates kind of what they're experiencing. And I will say I've been listening for like about an hour. And as an HR professional, it's very sad for me to hear some of the stories about the ghosting and the not getting back to people. And especially, I think you had someone who said, look, I have a friend who works there, like internally, like every candidate that's an employee referral that I know someone, I go speak to the person about maybe why they weren't selected and doing that personal touch. And the fact that that's kind of missing right now is just really disheartening for me. But I can tell you, like, I try to make it the best candidate experience. I think a lot of what internally some people may be facing is there's a lot more obstacles internally than they want to outwardly say to any candidates. So for example, if I'm waiting on finance for budgeting purposes, or if I'm waiting on a hiring manager whose hiring manager really makes a decision, but that person's out of office for a week. There are things that are just, you should always take in consideration, but I'm really glad to be a part of today.
Yeah, appreciate you being here. One thing I learned that I didn't even know is that companies who took PPP had to actually offer all of the employees that they were on furlough a job back before they can hire anyone else. So it's just another thing to reconsider, that maybe the timeline is going to be a little bit longer. We have Caitlin with us today, our next great candidate. I just want to show Alana is talking about what she's looking for: player operations space, R&D, sports science. And I think we're going to get Alana on the program at some point.
I'm still waiting on Alana to let me know if she can do it after her call this afternoon. So hopefully she can.
If anyone wants to join, let us know. If you want to just put what you're looking for in the comments, we'll highlight it like we just did. Connect with others on the panel. Ask questions of us. Ask questions of the candidates. They can share their stories about what this job search looks like. And with that said, Caitlin, welcome, and tell us who you are and what you're looking for, and a little bit about your job search.
Sure. Thanks for having me. I'm Caitlin Belisich from Philadelphia, PA. Sound a little bit like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air there. I've been in multiple industries throughout my career. So worked in the promotional product industry, retail, construction, and then most recently the healthcare industry. Started out as a marketing manager in my last position, and then I was promoted to associate marketing manager. This was in the healthcare industry. So I worked with marketing to a lot of providers and IT folks in medium to large healthcare organizations and systems. I did a lot of strategical work, but I also did a lot of the execution on the tactics. Some of the things that I really liked doing were the email marketing. So writing, creating, and building the emails. Worked a lot on our client and lead digest emails, which were really interesting to work on. Also really liked blogging, and then executing webinars, doing the behind the scenes coordination, and also the promotion of the webinars.
Very good experience. Yeah. I think there's a little bit of an echo here. I don't know if you have the LinkedIn open or not.
I do not.
All right, we'll move forward on that.
Okay.
So tell us, you have a pretty diverse experience with regards to industry. Obviously, marketing, but is there an industry that you prefer that you'd like to get into, or are you targeting any companies?
Right. I really liked the healthcare industry that I was last in. I'm not married to it. Like, as you could see, I was in other industries. So open to other industries, preferably in marketing, but just as long as it's the right job and culture fit.
Yeah. And what are you finding with your job search? What's been working for you? Obviously, the ultimate working is to get a job, but it doesn't.
Right.
You could be doing everything right, and it still might not get that job. It doesn't mean you shouldn't continue to do that. So, what has been helpful for you in the job search that you've seen that might be helpful for others, people listening?
Sure. I think it was Carrie that said this earlier. She kind of took the words out of my mouth, but just to carve out some time for yourself. Networking and looking for a job is really a full-time gig. So just having that time for you to either work out, meditate, read, listen to a podcast, some downtime where you can just have some mental sanity for yourself and just stay in that positive mindset. I notice when I'm starting to get negative, I don't hear as much back from potential employers, but then when I start getting positive again, I seem to hear more back from people. So it's, yeah.
Sarah, you're on the end of receiving. What advice can you give people who are looking? And we want to actually, I always forget to do this disclaimer. We want to give the disclaimer that we're not professionals. Whatever we say is not, the law. We're just trying to give advice and bring people who are helpful to do that. So please, don't just listen to us and everything we're saying. Do your research, talk to other people, come up with some opinions on a whole. And, we want to give you the best advice. But again, legally speaking, we're not telling you what to do. That's going to work or not work. So you always got to be careful with that. It's just what we've learned ourselves and from the panel that we brought on. But Sarah, give Caitlin and other people some things that you look for as you're calling for that might be helpful.
Yeah, it's funny, and I actually feel like I'm in a very unique position because I actually went through this process myself a year ago. So I like to put myself in both the candidate and my position, and I can do that. I can put myself in the candidate's shoes. I think the one thing that it's surprising because I feel like no one talked about it yet is I have seen candidates who are unprepared. Everyone we've talked to so far has been prepared and has been great, but I have run into candidates who have no idea what my company does, who ask questions that definitely are from the website, or who I can tell even when I'm on the phone with them that they're scrolling through the website just based on how they're asking questions or even just based on how their tone of voice is. So yes, when you're doing the video interview, make sure your background is appropriate. I mean, I had someone who, the hiring manager told me, like, look, her bed wasn't made in the background. Like, that was just something weird. If you're writing a resume, I always say 1 page, and that's just something that I've learned as an HR professional. When I see people who are like 4 or 5 pages, I always wonder why they limit that to 1 or 2. But it's little things like that. And again, I think you said before, like, I think Carrie said it too, the return on investment of putting in a personal portfolio or writing a whole cover letter. I want to maximize my time as best I can. So I'd rather look at a LinkedIn and your resume rather than a cover letter. So it's like those 2 things and just taking the time to really think about what you're applying for and how you're doing it and your communications. I think 100% positivity and negativity definitely comes across in email. You may not realize it. I have some candidates where I'm just like, I call them and I'm just like, okay, I just want to understand because maybe your tone of voice, you don't realize that you're coming across different than you are. But 100%. And I think part of it is just like everyone taking a deep breath. Like you said, Caitlin, like taking those 5 seconds to just take a deep breath and focus on something else for a little bit. I think it's really important. It's something we tell our hiring managers. Remember, you have to be able to put yourself in other people's shoes as they're applying. This is why we have kind of a 5-day rule of if someone applies, we need to get back to them within 5 days. And that's just being respectful. And it's little things like that. And look, every company is different. Not all companies kind of have that rule. But it's just something we think about, at least internally at team as well.
Great. All good advice. one page unless you have a job in a company that you just want to not have on there. And then, have you done one thing that some people have is they have separate resumes or type of letters for different industries. Is that something that you've done, Caitlin, because you've been in some different industries trying to target?
I haven't yet, but that's on my to-do list. Recently started a virtual portfolio to add with my blog work and email marketing, which I found super helpful and potential employers have been receptive to.
I think Linktree would be good if you haven't. I know Carla had one. I have one. You can get a Linktree account for free, and that would be great to highlight because it could just be one link to your blog and one link to your stuff. So Linktree.
Someone on our last broadcast brought up the site Canva, CANVA. Canva is really used for social media. However, it's actually really good for creating portfolios, or in my case, I have a portfolio. I'm going to take it and put it onto Canva so it looks a little bit different, a little bit stands out a little bit more. I think it was the first 7 days are free. I could be 30. I can't remember off the top of my head. So for people who are looking to do something like that, it's a really easy site to use. It's really great. And so it's sign up for free, cancel your credit card right away, which is what I do on almost every site that I sign up for free. And it's a great tool that's easy for people to use. People like me who don't have the most creative of a mind can easily make something look creative.
The Canva,
I use that for my template for my resume, actually, Canva, and it's been really great.
Canva, beautiful AI is another one that's a sort of like a free PowerPoint type thing, and putting your stuff in a PowerPoint or a Linktree. Anything to make it easier, less work for the people on the other end to do to get more information about you, which I think is always what they're looking to do.
Right. Another thing I found helpful was just trying to do like different education courses. There's a lot of free things, like I'm going through the Google Analytics course and Google Ads right now, some LinkedIn learning. So it's just, I feel helpful for myself and looks good to a future employer as well. Another thing I think about volunteering, I'm doing a call after this with somebody from the Alzheimer's Association. So it's helpful to help others, but also help grow my network and enhance some skills. So
it also gives you a good answer to what have you been doing? Like the whole employment gap. To me, at this point, it should be a non-existent question.
Right.
In the sense of, you can ask it, but if I come back to you and say, look, I just volunteered for this, I've been doing education work to improve my stuff. At the end of the day, the reason why I'm unemployed is because of COVID, and I'd put that right there on my resume. Like, COVID, if there was a job you had that got lost because of COVID, I'd put that on there. If you did an internship, and it got lost because of COVID, anything that you actually were, approved for and ready to start that was taken away from you, because that's an accomplishment to get that.
Right.
You need out people for that job and for that internship. So I think it's great that you're doing, some of this other stuff, and everyone should be keeping busy, trying to improve themselves. Even if it's not, if you don't feel like it's a huge thing that's going to help you improve, the looks of it. It's always more about the perception and the reality too. So, putting other stuff on your website, on your resume, that's just stuff you did. And you look on LinkedIn too. These people have everything listed. Like, I'm a podcast host, or I, volunteer for this, or I was on this committee or on that committee. So all of that is pretty helpful. Anything that you've worked on that you'd love to tell people about that you're proud of and want them to know? Everyone's got to brag on themselves. That's how other people know.
Yeah, I'm just really proud of being promoted at my last position from coordinator to associate marketing manager. When I was told I was going to be laid off due to COVID, and our company was acquired around the same time, I was supposed to be laid off in July, and our marketing VP had fought really hard to keep me on permanently. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but she was able to get them to keep me till the end of December. So I think that speaks volumes for my character and people that work with me. Another thing that I was really proud of at my last position was just revamping a lot of our client communications and increasing our open rates and click-through rates, and then kind of coordinating and executing a lot of our highest performing webinars.
Great. I'd love to hear that. A lot of good marketing talent out there. It's I always say, these people are going to be not happy that they let some really high quality candidates go, because trying to replace them is not going to be easy. Even if you get someone who you think is as good, there's a ramp up period to get to learn and training, and maybe they're just taking that job because they need a job and they're looking to use you as a springboard, or you hire someone who's maybe a little bit overqualified and they're just kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So I think there's going to be a lot of good jobs out there. I think there's a lot of new companies and a lot of people who are expanding what they're doing now, with what's out there. So, I'm confident that everyone that we're having on and everyone who's out there who's really at it, looking for a job, will get something. Anything else you want to tell everyone before we let you go? Maybe an organization a couple of organizations that would be like your dream jobs, or that you're talking to see if anyone else here is talking to them.
Just anything in the healthcare industry, really. I feel like I thrive best in like middle-sized organizations, and just it's something in a marketing role, ideally an associate role, and then potentially growing into a marketing manager from there.
When you say healthcare, you're talking about pharmaceutical, you're talking about a hospital, you're talking about equipment.
I'm open to anything. Ideally, I did like the hospital marketing that I did last. It was with patient education. So I found that really interesting. And we also did some health empowerment stuff. We had an app for wellness and mental health. So things of that nature I find really exciting.
I have someone who has very good marketing experience in the hospital world. She's down in Florida, but I'm going to have you connect with her. She might have some good stuff for you to look into, and some insight on how to get the job with that. But
awesome.
Really appreciate you coming on. We all wish you good luck. Reach out to us if we can help you at all. There's other people that have been on the show that are also happy to help and posting really great jobs. And I think Chris Moore was more on the outside of the entertainment world, right?
Yeah, Chris is a little more on the retail side. Caitlin has reached out to me a ton, and she's been wonderful. I highlighted her early on when I was doing all the highlights, but Caitlin has definitely kept in touch with me really well, and so I'm really glad to have you on today.
Yeah, thank you, Joe, for looking at my LinkedIn the other day too. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
it's all about helping and just getting more visibility, and it only takes one. So just one person seeing it or liking it to share it to their network is what we're hoping is going to happen here. So appreciate you coming on, and
thank you.
See you soon. Thanks, Caitlin.
Thank you for having me. Bye, everybody.
We're going to bring on
Matt, one thing I wanted to say real quick for the audience, just as an HR person, it's something you kind of just talked about right now, is I'm also seeing, especially in the marketplace, given the fact that there was this break and people have to explain COVID away, that I'm seeing for a lot of open positions, it's either people are really, really overqualified, or there's a backlog of people who graduated in 2018, 2019, 2020, and I mean, we're a few weeks away, 2021, of people who just either never found a job or found a job that was removed via COVID because they were kind of at the bottom of the ladder. So it's just something to keep in mind, that what I'm kind of seeing as an HR professional is like the tippity top and the bitty of the bottom. So if you are looking for someone who's more entry level, like, please look out to your networks. Please reach out to the schools that you interacted with in the past, or people who went to different schools in your organization, because people are seriously looking, and there's going to be a huge backlog of especially young qualified candidates from 2018, 2019, 2020, and now 2021.
I never leveraged my university. I went to the University of Florida, and I was looking for interns last summer. And they were very helpful in getting me that. I actually have a job fair on Friday for the University of Florida, and I'm going to attend and hope to find some new people there. But definitely go to your alma mater. They're always happy to help whichever school they want to hear and help however they can. With that said, we welcome Dan to the program. Dan, thanks for coming here. Thanks for being with us today. Let everyone know who you are, where you're from, what you're looking for. And we'll go from there.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, big thank you, Matt, for setting this up, and Jill and Sarah for joining. I think it's awesome. There's so many examples of how small and tight-knit this community is that we're in, and you just really appreciate you guys, taking the time to help everyone out. So I am an 11 years professional in the sports marketing, luxury automotive, and kind of consulting world. Sponsorships and athlete marketing was kind of my specialty for a while. Kind of grew up, so to speak, professionally with Engine Shop Agency. And before that, it was Sage Collective. They kind of merged, working on all the Mercedes-Benz national marketing initiative. So I actually carved out a role for myself where I was leading everything that they did on a golf perspective. And as a golfer, that was a really cool role for me. Couple internal changes, that role went away over at Engine Shop, and I landed over at CSM, was managing their partnerships with the PGA Tour, LPGA, and Ryder Cup, brand new sponsorships. We brought them into and helped launch a couple of really cool platforms, and then worked on some of the USGA work as well. So, I mean, it sounds like a lot of golf. It is a lot of golf. I've also pretty good experience over the tennis space with Mercedes and their US Open sponsorships. We helped with the launch of the Atlanta Stadium for the Falcons. I was involved. A couple other sports here and there, a little bit of South by Southwest NBA work. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of one of those musical chairs. I was the man standing when COVID hit. My accounts were a little slower at the time. And, you know, I can't fault them for CSM when they had to reduce headcount. And I was kind of the one let go from our consulting group. Funny story that I hope I'll be able to laugh about in earnest one day. I was promoted and laid off on the same call. So
Interesting.
That was an interesting swing of emotions for the 5 or so minutes that it took.
I was gonna say, how long was the call?
It was probably like 15 or 20 minutes, and it was interesting because I got promoted based on the results of our 2019 review process, right? And then, okay, we're gonna have to let you go, but we have 6 weeks that we can kind of phase you out. So I had this kind of long runway of having been promoted, so I was in my new role, but also transitioning out of my new role at the same time.
You know, being promoted is a big thing. So, you know, that's something on your resume. That's something really good to talk about. So, as bad as that story sounds, it's actually can be helpful, I think, and it's a good story to tell people too. I mean, you know, you gotta kind of just roll with the punches and take the wins where you can, I think.
Eventually, it'll be great to tell that story over a beer at a bar with someone.
Yeah. Well, whenever we can get back.
One of those, and someday we will.
Someday we will. Some people are already doing it. I was in Nashville and it was crowded with people wall to wall and no masks, but that's for another conversation.
I think one of the things I just want to point out really quickly, because I was just looking, I've never met Dan. I'm just now LinkedIn with him. And I, in looking at Dan's profile, the vice president at Dan's agency that he was laid off from was my intern at one point in time. Huh. So, you know, it's a small world and it's a fun little world that we live in. Right. But for me, I can easily say to somebody, I've never worked with Dan, but I know that somebody that Dan has worked with, she was my intern 15, 20 years ago, whatever it was. And so I, you know, through that, I'm sure that I can, you know, help Dan in some way at some point in time. So small little world that we live in. And it's always one of those, like, keep your contacts close and keep them open on LinkedIn so people see them and people know that people like Dan are out there who, you know, hopefully that I can be able to help them some way.
Yeah. One thing I want to highlight about Dan is, you know, obviously a lot of golf, a lot of tennis, very similar type sports and very similar type events. So a lot of transferable skills there, and then also be able to use that really in anything that's, you know, doesn't have to be exactly golf or tennis. So being able to use those skills and the knowledge that you've learned.
Well, and, you know, one of the things that I've been focusing on my search is, obviously it doesn't have to be golf or tennis. It really doesn't even have to be sports. And even before COVID, I was kind of thinking, like, we all know the sports world is really in demand, and it's a very narrow funnel the higher you get up it. So I've been really trying to focus on what are these transferable skills. It's really project management, it's staff leadership. I've, you know, led teams for the last 6 or 7 years on agency work, client relations. You know, what are those types of skills that I can focus on non-sports or sports roles? You know, I'm pretty agnostic in terms of what I'm looking for the next gig in terms of sports or not. What I'm finding, and I'm sure that everyone on this call can, you know, somewhat understand, is there's enough good talent with the direct, relatable experience out there that whenever, I feel like when I'm applying for jobs that are not sports related, I'm getting a lot of, even if they have personal outreach or I get through the first round or two, it's like, we think you'd be great at it, but we have this guy who we know would be because they were at our competitor for 5 years. So, that's kind of one of the tough things. The good news is I'm seeing a little bit of kind of light at the end of the tunnel. Seems like there's more and more postings coming through, which is good. It's just kind of being flexible and willing to, take, if it's a pay or title, I don't care about title, but pay cut, if needed for getting the foot in the door and kind of prove your worth type of situation.
Do you have a focus on agency or organization? Nothing. There's not a preference.
No, it's interesting. My work has kind of spanned the traditional agency, where you have your client or clients and you're working, but at the same time, you're trying to drive revenue for the agency. I've also been on an agency team that was a direct embed at a client, basically acting as the brand representative. They're good for their own reasons. I don't really have a necessarily, preference one or the other. It's kind of just finding something that's doing good work with cool people who I get along with is really what I'm looking for.
Have you ever asked Mercedes if they're hiring on the side that you worked with? I mean, that's something that people don't necessarily do often enough, is the people that you've done great work for, ask them if they're hiring. I got laid off one time and went to work for one of my customers.
So Mercedes actually moved their national headquarters down to Atlanta. From New Jersey. I'm in New Jersey right now. I was in our New York City office for CSM and Engine Shop. So when they moved down to Atlanta, there was a real big realignment on their team. So long story short, yes, I've asked, but what I've actually gotten more traction on is when there was some of the staff turnover. Some of the clients who I had worked more closely with on the Mercedes have been some of my largest advocates when I've been going out looking for additional work or new roles.
Yeah. How about something that has been frustrating on your end that others might, feel like they've been going through the same thing and might feel like they're not alone?
I don't know if I can say anything that hasn't been said in the last hour and 27 minutes. It's a lot of just like knowing you're perfect for a role and how do you just get a chance to show that.
Anything you've seen that stands out in that respect?
I mean, there have been plenty of instances where the couple folks before me here, they've had a direct connection to the hiring manager, hiring team, had a referral, maybe even had a screening call. Everything seems like it's going great, start getting excited about it. And then they say, either, the position's on hold, we filled it internally, what have you. I think that's the biggest frustration, is that there's so much, like Sarah was mentioning earlier, so many behind the scenes things that you don't even realize. That not only do you have to hope you're the best candidate and you can prove you're the best candidate, but you have to hope that the job actually stays open all the way through the hiring process.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like, one of the things that really annoyed me at my last job was internally, they would always post a job and interview people 4 or 5 times when they already knew who they were going to hire, but legally they had to do it. And so there's a lot of that going on externally too. So you never even know if that's the case. Why waste anyone's time, including your own, if we're not going to have an opportunity for that? What have you been doing to network? What have you found helpful in the networking space?
Well, I mean, it may help a little bit, but I had a baby girl last June. And so everyone has babies. So, reaching out and giving that little life update to folks who I'd worked with, whether it's on Facebook or, I haven't really done too much of it on LinkedIn, but people who I've had good connections with, kind of the birth announcement was a little cheater step that I used for sure.
Have another one.
What's that?
Have another one.
Yeah, not until we get the job situation. I've actually been doing some independent contract and freelance work. So I've been lucky enough that I've been, maybe not made whole from where I was before, but since a little before Thanksgiving, I've been keeping busy with part to full-time consulting work. Right now, I'm actually in the middle of a contract back with CSM, who was my agency previous, working on a couple things that they have going on. So in a perfect world, that will then lend back to a full-time gig, but I'm not obviously slowing down the search in the meantime.
Yeah, no, always got to ramp up. Anything that you'd love to brag on and to highlight what you've done that you want people to know?
There's two things. One is because I was kind of prepping for this like I would an interview, and one of the interview questions, a lot of them is like, what's something you're the most proud of? And for a long time, my answer to that was at the 2017 PGA Championship for Mercedes. They asked us to completely reimagine the fan experience. And one of the things that I took from an idea in my brain all the way through to, execution was we built a 3-hole mini golf experience in the Mercedes tent. And each hole was tied to a vehicle attribute like a turbo or off-roading or something like that. And if you made all 3 hole-in-ones, you won a car. And we actually had someone win the car during a rain delay with about 500 people packed in our tent, and it was bananas. So that was real. That's always been kind of my go-to for the last couple of years when someone asks me. But I need to also shout out with Aon and the work I did at CSM. We launched the first program of its kind in the golf world that has equal prize money for men and women with the Aon Risk Reward Challenge. And so we took that from an idea that we brought to the brand and to the tours. We sold it in. We launched it with a ton of internal communications because, quite frankly, Aon's not a really big consumer brand. But extending it through the broadcast, building out an ambassador team of athletes. And it's just, I think it's a really cool and important thing that is, hopefully a step in the right direction for the world of sports.
Great. No, it's always got to brag on. People are right now posting. It's bragging, but it's really showcasing, why they should hire you, and you always get all these extra opportunities to kind of share what you do and why you might be different from someone else. So I think there's a difference between like just always bragging kind of things and then just kind of highlighting who you are, which you should always be doing. Like, hey, here's who I am. I'm looking for work. I need some help. You're going to see a lot of people wanting to help you, including everyone here, the people on the panel, the other people that we've had. So, it's interesting. The fine line between bragging and really just sharing. But you got to do something to stand out. Any other thoughts, Jill or Sarah?
Sarah? No, I mean, Dan, I have Sarah, I think you're on mute. I was going to say, Dan, we have, a bit of a similar background. I have obviously a lot of experiential and events and automotive in my background. So happy to help if you see anything that pops up and I know somebody at the company, and you need that connection, please let me know. If you just want to pick my brain, I'm happy to do that. One of the other things that I've done for a lot of people in the past couple of weeks, in the past couple of months, I should say, is I am not an HR person. Sarah can answer any HR questions, but one of the things I do know is LinkedIn and how to make your profile stand out and look good. So I haven't even taken a look at yours other than our quick review. But if there's anyone out there watching this who would like me to take a look at your LinkedIn and just give you my 2 cents and where you can see improvement, where I could see that there is room for improvement, I should say, just ping me, let me know. I'm happy to do it. It might take me a day or two to get to it, but it's kind of my goodwill gesture back to people. So
awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And that Dan talked about, I think people forget, like, you can use your personal connections just because it's like not LinkedIn, just because it's whether it's Facebook or Instagram or whatnot. Like, don't be afraid. Those networks are just as powerful and should be used in just a similar manner. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it was you taking advantage of your baby when you did that. But it's another way of connecting with people. Like, there's a reason why, and I'm just going to give this example. My friend has got a dog. She now has all these other couple friends that they're going to start doing stuff with. Like, who knows if that may lead to them talking about work or whatnot. Like, there's all these different ways that people forget that work comes up in where it's appropriate, because there are times where it's not. I can tell you, I've made connections at Temple. I've made connections at the gym. There are places in your personal life where it 100% can happen.
Yeah, it's like dating. I mean, no one really cares how you met someone. You could have the great, people were embarrassed to be like, hey, I met you on online dating. It doesn't matter. Get the job. Who cares how you did it? It could be in a grocery store or at the library or at the movie theater. Who knows? Whatever it is. It could be your Uber driver who, I have no idea. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, that would be a new one, but it doesn't really matter. So, Dan, let us know, last thing, anything. Do you have a website? Do you have anything outside that people should be looking at?
No, I probably ought to get a website going, but no, it's really just the LinkedIn for me.
Yeah, we've talked about, we've mentioned Linktree and Beautiful AI and Canva, all good resources that you can use to just show added value. Obviously, LinkedIn is great. And we talked about this in a previous episode of Learning LinkedIn. Make sure that you're connected to all of the people that you're connected to. Go through your phone, go through, emails, because I have people were at my wedding that I didn't even have connected with on here, maybe because they were in a different industry, but they might know someone who can help you. You just never know who's going to be that person who can help you. So great to have you on here, Dan. Another great candidate. It's just one great candidate after the next. And, hopefully people are watching who are hiring or know people who are hiring or can help highlight these people in their own way, whether it's a like or a comment on social media. But definitely reach out to us if we can help in any way. And hopefully you'll be creating new experiences at golf tournaments or tennis tournaments or somewhere else. Thanks for coming on here, Dan.
Well, thanks, Matt. Thanks, Jill. Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Dan.
We're going to bring Esther on soon. I don't see her picture here, and I messaged her that we can go early. But here is Caitlin was on. Oh, there's Esther. We're going to bring Esther on in a second.
Matt, one other thing I think is really important that you had kind of mentioned when Dan was on, but the whole idea of transferable skills. It's also the way in which you talk about your transferable skills. I remember when I was in college that somebody used to say, like, you could turn being a lifeguard into a great skill that shows that you take responsibility and accountability and everything like that. So just remember that every experience you've had, especially if you are doing little side jobs during the pandemic, really does help. And you just got to be able to explain things away. But I think the transferable skills part is really important.
Yeah, I mean, short of like I'm a surgeon or I need technical knowledge for being an attorney, I think almost anything you do can be transferable.
Especially from a lot of the people we've had on in the past, not just today, but the last one we did are events and sports marketing. There was early on in the pandemic, people made the joke, which is like, if you let people in the events industry handle things like vaccine rollouts and so on, it would have been taken care of and it would have been like 100%, right? So the transferable skills, it's project management, it's digital management, it's all these things that, like, he didn't just do golf and tennis. That could transfer into creating an app. That could transfer into managing a marketing calendar and marketing communications and things like that.
So with that said, we have our first international candidate here. Esther has reached out to Jill. Did you see our event last time or a posting? How did you get in touch with us?
Hi, Matt, hi Jill, and hi Sarah.
Hi, Esther.
I actually got in touch with Jill because I got in touch with Jen Corsili from Live Nation, and she told me to try to fix my profile on LinkedIn, and Jill would be the right person for it. So I connected with Jill, and she helped me for a while, and also I saw her posting it, so I was really excited to hear about LinkedIn highlights.
Great. Well, we thank you for watching and for your support, and now glad to have you on here. Anyone who's listening, we're happy to highlight you, whether it's on camera, whether it's in the comments, whether it's us sharing your profile or just looking at the job postings that we have. But Esther, you are outside of the U.S., so tell everybody where you are, what you're looking for, what you do, and just introduce yourself.
Right, thank you. So my name is Esther Grace, and I'm actually studying at the University of Edinburgh, so that's in the UK. But I'm actually from Malaysia, just a little town from Malaysia. It's just unknown, but I came here to sort of uproot my life on a scholarship. But that aside, I've begun to fall in love with project management, and I've also tried to get involved and engage with people in the music industry, in the sports industry, with Modest Golf, and also with Jonas Group. But right now, I'm really looking to be a business professional in the line of marketing, but also project management, because I would say that someday I will specialize in finance and business as I am learning right now. So I'm here to kind of highlight myself as someone who's open to work, and I do have some, like what you said, transferable skills, like project management, and I also am developing my skills in digital marketing as well as R and basically data analytics. So I guess to summarize, I am looking for an internship, but also any employers who are willing to reach out to me and to get me an interview, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah. Well, so you're in school now.
Yeah.
And so you're looking for internship, and when you graduate would be entry level. This is your first, or have you gone back to school? What's your background?
So I'm currently doing an integrated master. It's basically a bachelor's with honors on business and finance. So I'm looking for something entry level. I'm actually in my third year, so I'll be finishing up next year. So yeah, I'll be really looking forward to probably uproot my life in the US and start an entry level job from there.
So you're looking for internships in the US.
Yep, if that's possible, but also I would also be looking for a remote internship as of now, so I can at least have a background of engaging with a US audience and also working with people in the US.
Yeah, a lot of stuff is virtual now anyway, so I'm not sure it matters. The only problem would maybe be at time, but it's like working the midnight shift, right? You work from anywhere if you want. All you got to do is be able to stay up and do what you need to do. You mentioned a few companies. Is there an area that you are highlighting? Is it music? Is it sports? Is it more business on the business side? Is it more finance? Just to kind of give people a more clear view of what you're looking for.
Right. Well, I can kind of say that I'm looking to be in business, in any business function, but also in finance. But my background is basically golf and music. But I'm also really happy to engage in any industry because I'm really good at adapting in just unfamiliar environments.
What's it been like just uproot? I mean, it's easy for us to talk about it, but when we go to college in the US, like, hey, you're going all the way to California from New Jersey? Wow, that's crazy. Now you went from Malaysia all the way to the UK. What's that been like as a student that's so far away from where you grew up?
Right, that's a very interesting question. I think I've always had the mindset of being a global citizen. So ever since I started understanding English, and that's my second language actually, I've always just watched like every single Hollywood movie that you would know. So I guess uprooting my life here feels rather normal. It feels like it's something that I was meant to do. So I do feel estranged for a while, but I think being in a different country really helps me understand where I stand as a person within different communities. And I guess I just feel like everyone is the same, and that really helps me understand people in such a diverse community.
Yeah, I like that outlook. I think being a liaison to the Asia markets in the U.S., saying coming there would be a great place for you to look and maybe target. I would even look at job postings that just sort of have that description so you can understand. That's one thing that I did a lot was look at all these other job descriptions and find out what I would like to do, but also what it does is it gives you an idea of a lot of different companies that you never even heard of. So you can see a job description that is nothing to do with you, but it's a company you never heard of, and now they might be hiring, or you can just reach out to them or kind of start to build that relationship. So that's something that I would recommend you look into is U.S. based that wants to have a liaison in the Asia market, leveraging your language skills. I think that would be good. Any suggestions from Jill and Sarah?
Yeah, I was going to say, if that is something you're interested in, Esther, remind me this week. I have a good friend who is a PhD. She lives here in LA. She's Japanese, but that's actually what she does for a living. She focuses a lot on the retail sector, but in that business vein that you talked about, and she helps companies. Like, I know she worked for Tony Hawk. She helps companies translate what they're doing into sort of an Asian market, and vice versa. The Asian market is actually well ahead of us in the retail sector. And so she also brings that knowledge to the United States. So I don't know if she's looking for interns or what her status is. She's my friend. I've never actually worked with her. Brilliant girl, and somebody who I think would be good for you to talk to if that is something you're interested in. I was going to actually ask Sarah, because Esther is looking for an internship and she doesn't actually live in the United States at the moment, how she would, kind of what advice she'd give to Esther to sort of help her get to secure an internship without being in the United States necessarily, and what steps she should take to make that happen.
Yeah, great. And thanks, Jill, for including me in that. So I think first off, you just want to make sure that your location is known on your resume, just so people don't have to look for it and aren't like, okay, where is she? The other thing I would just say for you, Esther, is I think you're going to want to focus on the East Coast. Just with the time difference with the West Coast, I think is going to be really hard for someone to think that it would work for both you and them. I think they'd think about your sanity as well. So I think just focusing on the East Coast is going to be really important for you, as well as I think focusing your messaging a little bit more. I think your messaging between business and finance, you kind of got to choose one or the other, especially for very specific jobs. I also hate to say it, it's almost a little too late in certain sectors, but if you really, I think, focus on it right now, you will see that there are still internships available. I think the other hard part is I think some companies actually decided to play it safe and not have interns for the summer, not knowing if they were going to be fully in the office or not. But just keep doing your research and seeing who is remote versus who isn't remote. Anyone who is remote, I think, would be willing to hire you. Anyone who isn't, I'm not 100% sure, because I don't know if they have how they think they're going to be able to bring you over here. But just keep looking and be a little bit aggressive about it, because I think now is especially the time where it's not just you. There's hundreds of thousands of other American students doing the same thing.
Esther, do internships get you college credit in the UK?
No, it doesn't actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's internships for summer. There are people who do internships for other semesters. There are people who are graduated who feel like the internship is the way they need to go. So, definitely there's got to be an internship out there. There's companies, I'm hiring interns. I'm not sure that what I'm doing would suit what you're doing, but there's companies. Every company can use an internship, and even if it's just a little bit, a few hours a week to do something and put that on your resume. I think that's helpful. That will be helpful for you. But definitely, looking at the U.S. and trying to leverage the skills that you have would be helpful. We're going to bring Alana on in a minute. I think
And Esther, reach out to your school. Your school 100% probably has alumni who are all up and down the East Coast. I would 100% try to reach out to, whether it's like, I know in the U.S. it's like a Department of Alumni Affairs is usually the title. But if there's that at the University of Edinburgh, reach out to them, because that's really, I think, how you're going to be able to get into it.
Okay.
Yeah. Your English is great, though. Where did you learn English? Back in Malaysia when you were young? Is that how they do everything? Because I know there's a lot of people teaching English, the Americans going out to Asia and teaching English, and that was the job. People who weren't even teachers, just going out there, and that's how people got connected. Is that how you did they teach English right from the start?
Yeah. they actually teach us right from kindergarten. But it well, my first, to be fair, my first language ever spoken out of my own tongue is English, because my mom would speak English to me, even with minimal abilities.
But you still talk in your native language with your family, and
Yeah, so I speak English with my mom and basically like Malay with my dad, and
yeah.
2 other languages basically.
Oh, great. Yeah. I mean, that's something to put on your resume. The language skill is huge right now. And, I think you're ahead of the game. I never had an internship. I know everyone's going for internships now and really trying to build their resume because it's competitive, but it's also a good way to get your skills going. So we're all happy to help any way we can. Reach out to us and connect with us, and then let us know how you're doing. And when you get to the U.S., we're happy to help you out even more for your next step. So anything else you want to say to everyone before you go, or something a company you're looking for, or something else?
Well, I just want to thank you all for having me here, and I would love to connect with everyone here and basically get to know the market even more before trying to enter it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to speaking with all of you.
Great.
Thanks, Esther.
Esther, we'll see you soon.
Online, of course.
Yeah, see you soon. Oh, we lost Joe for a second. We're going to bring Alana on. We lost Jill, but Jill will be back. Alana, welcome. We saw you in the comments and bring you onto the show. We did that.
I just had to go get this because we have Syracuse with 9.
Yeah, we do.
Nobody knows why Syracuse got an 11 seed, but we don't have time to discuss that.
You know what?
I'm okay. I can take that offline.
Yeah. No, Alana saw us. She joined us and put in the comments that she'd like to be highlighted, and here we are. I know we did that for David last week, so we're glad to have you on here. We do have some extra time available as well in the 5 o'clock hour, some cancellations. So if you're listening or watching and you want to come on and get highlighted, please send us a message or a comment. Put a comment in there so we know. And Alana, welcome. Tell us who you are and what you're looking for.
Sure. Hi. Well, I'm Alana. I'm currently located in Calgary, but really hoping to move down to the States. I just got a master's degree in human performance and biomechanics, but I'm really hoping to apply my skill set more to a front office type role or project management role. Hard sciences are great. They're a ton of fun, but there's not as much creativity, and slowly there's less human interaction as machine learning and really hard coding is coming more into play. So I'm really trying to make that transition. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to player operation roles and sports science roles. But yeah, that's sort of what I've been struggling with. I apologize if my coworker, the cute puppy, comes into the window.
Babies, we welcome all pets and babies, and adults too. If there's an adult in the background lingering, I think we got connected at the happy hour on Fridays. Is that right?
Yeah.
What else have you been doing to kind of expand your network? What has been working for you?
So I've been really involved with the Women in Sport Technology group. If anyone is not in that, we accept both women and male allies. They're really a phenomenal group. My biggest downset is that I'm Canadian. So although I'm heavily involved with them, they're a non-for-profit and only financial and job support is available to American citizens. But other than that, I've been doing a boatload of EDX classes, jumping on calls like this, networking, doing various research papers and international presentations, and really just trying to get my name out there and hoping something lands eventually.
So tell us a little bit about, obviously, you've worked in some data and on the operation side. Anything specifically you want to talk about with, what you've done in the past that might help propel for your next role?
Sure. A lot of the work I've done up until now has been in usability and validation testing for consumer technology. So everything from user testing to the actual, is this product doing what it's supposed to be doing? And within that, there's been a lot of big data analytics, as well as interacting with the consumers. So what type of footwear lace do they like over another and why? Or what type of sole is most comfortable? A lot of the stuff I've been doing lately is related to footwear. But I did some work. My thesis itself was actually based in baseball. So we looked at the validity of radar guns and worked with different sports science members, whether it was a sports psychologist, the strength and conditioning coaches, the head coach, what type of technology would they like to see used with their players, both on the field and off the field, and how can they best understand the data to make informed decisions. I think that no matter what industry you're in or what part of any industry that you're in, there's a ton of data and a ton of questions that can be answered. But having someone who actually understands the meaningful actions that you can take from the specific data points is really necessary. The other thing I've noticed and that I've really tried to work on is how can we bridge that gap between speaking science and speaking English? Because there's a lot of disconnect between, that front office and the data scientists or the analytics or the strength coaches. And then really just being able to find that bridge and make sure communication is going both ways is both interesting, a passion of mine, and I think really important, especially going forward.
Are you a Moneyball person?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
I know that's the only movie that comes to mind with the analytics or strong analytics.
Are you sort of focusing more on that consumer product side, or maybe not? Maybe consumer products is the wrong word, but sort of products that are either for consumers or specifically for sports related, either athletes or team or things like that.
Not really. I'm just sort of, my degree is in human performance. So that's sort of, I guess, in my view, my easiest in from academics to industry. Just because that's where my experience lies right now. In a dream world, I would be working as a project manager or lab coordinator for within industry. So, I spent pre-pandemic most of my time volunteering for event planning, and I always call it the swag office for World Cup events that are coming in. I've worked for the Grey Cup. I recently did a project working on a unnamed sports combine digitally, and moguls, any really winter sport that comes through Calgary. And I honestly just love all of it.
And looking to stay in Canada?
No, get me out of the cold.
Why did you go to Syracuse?
Because it was 3 hours from home.
Ah.
Yeah, 3-hour drive from home.
Well,
so
that's
far
closer
enough.
than I was.
Where are you? Are you from Toronto then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My sister did an art program. My sister did an art program in Syracuse one summer. It's a pretty far drive from where I'm in New Jersey, which you wouldn't think, but yeah, it's
a pretty far drive from where I grew up in DC too.
Yeah. Long way. What have you found that's worked for you? I know you talked about you've been involved in some of the women's type organizations. Is there something else that's been worked for you in the job search that might be helpful for others?
Yeah, have no shame. Contact everyone that you possibly know. And if I landed an internship with Sports Innovation Lab, and I sent them in, I gave the CEO, Angela Ruggiero, a 30-second elevator pitch at CES. I waited for her after she spoke behind the stage, and then I followed up literally every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Hi, it's Alana. We met here. I'm still really interested. Please let me know. And yeah, really just have no shame. People are busy. The best piece of advice I ever got was email me up to 3 times. The first time I may not answer because I'm busy. The second time, I may think it's your first time. So that third time, if I'm ignoring you, I don't want to talk to you. But just keep trying.
I wouldn't even stop at 3, but you just got to space them out. I don't take no I don't take silence as a no, but I do understand.
Yeah, me neither.
Fine line between it. You have to be able, because you might say, "Oh, I'll wait another day," and that's the day that they were hiring or that they were available to talk to you. So it's tough to try and navigate, even just from a sales perspective, which is really what you're doing. You're selling yourself. It's tough to try and figure out, should I email this extra time? Should I call? Am I being annoying? And don't worry about being annoying, but be respectful. So
yeah,
be respectfully.
Sarah, how would you? Because that's an interesting. That topic came up for me recently. At one point in time, do I stop asking them for an update on a second interview?
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to what I said before. I don't want to lie to a candidate, but if I don't have like an exact answer, sometimes I will pick up the phone and say, "I'm so sorry, but I have no information." I will say there is a fine line though, Matt, between being annoying and being persistent. I think it depends on how your email is worded and maybe what time you're sending the email. A little bit, it sounds really silly, but if I get an email between let's say 9 and 6. I know that's normal. I know that's part of the business day. If I get it before 9 or maybe after 6, that's a little bit of a red flag for me, at least. I know people are busy and they're trying to get stuff done at odd hours, but if it's 11 o'clock at night and that's when you're sending the email, that's just a little fishy to me. But yeah, to your point, Jill, there is a little bit of fine line between persistent and being annoying, especially if you really don't know the person. Like, for example, when I'm interacting with, let's say, candidates, that's different. I've been on the phone with them, I've met them, I know them, versus someone who's just cold emailing me over and over and over again because they found my email address somewhere.
So, Alana, do you find that what you're looking for is a little unique? It's not everywhere. Is that a problem that you're finding?
Yeah, most definitely. I've been rejected from jobs because I'm overqualified. I've been rejected from jobs because I'm underqualified, and there's really no middle ground. And so that's been a really big issue. I mean, the thing that I've sort of resorted to now is applying to PhD programs because it's something to do and it's fully funded, and maybe the positions I'm underqualified for, I can now be qualified for. It's not my first choice, but it's definitely something that I've taken into consideration.
Yeah. How about technology? There's a lot of technology companies popping up. Is that, it's companies that aren't established, taking a job is kind of a scary proposition, but also getting on the ground floor of that company that has promise is be very rewarding. Do you have a preference with where you're going? I know everyone is very open about everything, but we're here to kind of also let everyone know, what is your preference, and because one might be listening.
I mean, I don't have a preference between startup or more established companies. I think that right now, I'm really just looking for the fit. So I'll, work for a company so long as it's the right fit and I can look in the mirror and say, yes, I'm making a difference and a positive impact on people's lives and the company itself. I think the other issue is that because I'm, international, there's a big misconception on how I could get into the States. As a Canadian citizen, I'm very lucky that we're under NAFTA. And as a female in STEM, I also fall under a different category. So just letting people know that it's easy to get me into the country. And I already have all of the immigration paperwork lined up. I just need a company to sort of sign on the dotted line.
Yeah, no need to apologize for being Canadian. We love our northern friends.
I think Sarah probably can address this. I'm sorry, I'm printing something right now. Is that something that, Sarah, when you see somebody who is outside of the United States applying for a job, does that ever kind of red flag for you? Only because I asked that because in my last role, when I was doing a lot of the recruiting, we would never have hired somebody who didn't have the paperwork Alana just talked about. So
yeah, I think it really depends on your company's philosophy on immigration, period. There's a lot of companies that won't do H-1Bs, that won't do green cards. It is a very expensive process and time-consuming process. So it really just depends. But Alana, I'm so glad to hear that like you have parts of it ready. I will say that's a total red flag for me when the candidate doesn't even know what my next step should be. Like you should know what your next step should be for every role that you're applying for. So
is that something she should flag on her resume or in a cover letter so it doesn't turn?
Yeah, it would flag on a cover letter, not a resume. I don't know where on the resume you'd be able to put it, but on a cover letter, or if there's ever an extra section, sometimes like about me, sometimes they put like an extra text box. I would put it right there.
So, Sarah, I guess I can ask you this question. When I am applying to jobs, there's always those boxes that say, "Are you legally able to work in the States?" I always say yes, because I know if I say no, I'm gonna get flagged. I was talking to a company and I knew the CEO really well, and I got an email back confidentially saying, "Hey, like you're perfect for the role, but we're not going to take you because you don't live in the city." And like I know HB1s are expensive, but a TN visa, which is what I qualify for, is $140. That's it.
No.
So,
and I completely understand.
Right?
My concern would be you say yes, and then they don't even know that they have to get a TN visa for you. So that's my only concern, is that you're kind of lying.
But then how do I get?
But
I legally am able to work in the States because often there's another box.
Only once you get the visa, though, and the company has to get the visa for you.
But isn't the next box often, do you require a sponsorship? And then that I click yes to as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a yes and a yes. But without having that fib, how do I get past that ATS system? Or how do I even get in there?
Look, I don't know. This is a real legal thing, and an HR could be.
Sorry.
Well, no, it's okay, because there's other people who have this experience who might reach out and say, "We've done this." Is it a lie? I don't know if it's a lie. It's a gray area. There's a lot of things that are gray areas, and I'm not encouraging anyone to lie or put something. There's probably better information out there, but I think that it's kind of like a white lie. It's true, but it's not. It's true, but with variables. So I would look into trying to get more information about that, because I would think it's not a problem to say yes if somewhere on there you're saying, "I'm available. I have this lined up." Again, we're not giving any legal advice here.
Yeah, no, for sure. I
think there's better advice out there, but I don't think that it's bad to say yes on that. And in general.
And Alana, I'm not trying to like offend you at all. There are just companies that, even though it's $140, their philosophy is that they can find people in the U.S. to do the same exact job, and that's the whole, I guess, America First also line of defense. But it's definitely a mindset, and I've definitely seen it spread extremely, except over the past 2 years, especially. And it's like kind of like what I said before. I think it's a really hard job market right now. There's people who got laid off during COVID. There's everyone who's graduated in the past 3 years who potentially didn't find a job pre-COVID as well, and they're all in the market. So I just think it's a really hard job market right now.
Is there any thought to maybe coming to the U.S. and then trying to find the job, whether it's through an internship or get here first?
You can't really get in, especially with the borders closed.
Because of COVID.
Yeah, because of COVID. Because that was a thing, like what I was going to do originally. Because like I have a U.S. address and like I'm genuinely set up. I have everything filled out. But because of COVID, I can't get past the border until I have a job offer in my hand.
But it has to be a paying job, or it can be an internship?
I can be under an internship for sure.
You can intern for Ticket Time Machine, Matt.
You can come intern for Ticket Time Machine. We'd love to have you.
Well, thank you. I'll send you a message once it's over.
Here we are, finding jobs and solving immigration issues.
Woohoo!
We gotta just make sure that the immigration side of it is okay. But no, I think it's unfortunate, like that type of situation is going to prevent, because there's so much good that comes from you coming here, getting a job. I mean, it's nothing negative about it. And I know that they have these laws to try and prevent people from taking advantage of certain things. But sometimes these laws need to be changed, or sometimes under the conditions, your policies need to be removed. I had a policy issue yesterday at the airport with Southwest, and I'm like, look, your policy needs to be changed. This is not the same world we were living in a year ago, and you need to be compassionate and try and help people. They tell me that their administrative costs weren't covered on this, and then the thing that I had to do took like a half hour. It wasted way much more time and money than anything else would have. So I think we need to try and change the policies, and maybe there is some leniency in the Canada-US right now with regards to that. So I definitely recommend looking into that as much as you can. We can definitely talk after this to see if I can help you at all. And
no, I appreciate that. Thank
yeah,
you.
we got. I think that Kim is going to join us soon, and we still have Randy. If anyone's out there who wants to come get highlighted, please comment or let us know. We'll bring you in. Otherwise, we might end this early. We had a few cancellations today.
Before Alana goes, who's going to win the NCAA tournament?
I mean, it's obviously Syracuse. So
thanks. Thank you.
I have nothing else to say about that. Go
Thank you.
Cuse.
Yes.
You grow up a hockey fan, being in Canada?
My first onesie was a Leafs onesie, but I've recently been working with the Flames. So I'm just going to say I'm a sports fan and go Syracuse, go.
There you go. Go Syracuse. Great having you on here. We're glad that you reached out and joined.
Yes.
This not planned. So just to show, we go on the fly and we bring people in. So
well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No, a lot of good
Thanks,
information
Alana.
from everyone.
All right.
Thank you.
Awesome.
We got Jenna. Jenna, welcome. Welcome to the program. Great to have you on here. I know you have been watching us previously, and it's good to have you here. Good to have you on here to highlight yourself. So tell everyone where you're at, who you are, what you're looking for.
Okay. As Matt said, my name is Jana Wagner. I live in Northwest Arkansas, and I spent most of my career working for a Fortune 100 company, mainly in the HR realm, specifically the communications, training, development, labor relations aspects of that. And then in 2018, I decided I wanted some small business experience. So I've been working for some small businesses, but my last job ended courtesy of COVID. Just what the funds just weren't there. So now I'm looking to get back into more of the mid-sized to larger companies.
Primarily in an HR role?
That'd be good. That's most of my experience, but I have really strong project management experience, specifically because those roles that I mentioned earlier required it. I like details. I like the weeds, so to speak. I have good customer service skills, and I just really want to put those to work for some great company.
Yeah, a lot of big corporations in the Arkansas area. People don't even know, right?
I love how you said you worked for a Fortune 100 company. She worked for the #1 company.
I did. I did. Great experience.
That's Walmart.
Yes.
Yeah. We had drove past and we went to a game in Fayetteville when we had to fly in. It's like 3 flights. It's not very easy to get to. And then my company that I worked with got bought out by a company called Weldon Williams and Lick, which is a big ticket company in Arkansas. So yeah, very familiar with the area. Are you? Was Walmart your last job?
No, I left there in 2018.
Okay.
And I wanted to, it was time for a change. And so I wanted to gain some small business experience. And I did. But I just, kudos to that industry. I just don't think it's a place where I want to stay for the remainder of
So back to more of a bigger organization.
Yeah. But I do have that small business experience that I can bring with me to that mid-sized to larger company, which I think is a great asset to have.
Yeah. What's the challenge? I'll ask you, and then we'll get Sarah's comment on what's the challenge in a big company being an HR and trying to really be able to connect with so many people there. And then also, even big or small, trying to connect with the people who, I don't want to say your loyalties to the company, but a lot more so in an HR position than other employees. So how do you navigate through that to connect with the people?
It's got to be intentional. For me, in a big company, it was extremely intentional. I think you mentioned, Sarah, that you would physically talk to this person, pick up the phone and call them. That was intentional on your part. And I was the same way with my customers, and they were kind of blown away. Like, you're actually calling me back? You're actually following up with me? I said, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am, I am. And here's why. And look, at working in the labor relations field, that's not only delivering good news. And so you have to be able to do that as well. And then with a small business, it's even more intensified, because small businesses depend on people to keep them going. And so your impression, the first impression is really important. And so I just tried to do that wherever I went, be a good representative of the company.
Sarah, how do you navigate that as HR?
Yeah, I mean, I will say I don't have a lot of best friends at the company, and that's okay. I'm okay. I've made my peace with that. But it's about the little personal things. It sounds really sweet, remembering people's like spouses' names, their children's names. Oh, how did that birthday party go last week? Oh, what book did you read on? I know you said you were on vacation. Did you read any books? Do you have any good book recommendations? It's like the little personal nuances with every individual. And look, I'm very fortunate. I worked with the MBA for 3 years prior to Team Whistle, and that was a very big company. And now I'm at a 140 person company where I really can get to know everyone. That also allows us to get ahead of things as well. So if we see someone's kind of an early flight risk, we can address it early on. If we see someone's going through something personally and that they need a few days off, we can address it that way as well. It really does allow us, I think, to curb maybe some of the other business problems that come up along the way. And there is a balance between the two. I have to say, it's really interesting being remote now. I did start my job a few weeks before COVID hit. And so I never got out to LA to meet all of our California folks. And so my first introduction was over Slack. And some people loved it, some people hated it. And so then I had to pick up the phone, and then I had to get over on Zoom and meet people and have people see my face in order for them to understand what I was saying and how I was saying it. So I think it is a little bit different now being remote, but being personal is really important. And just knowing, yes, there's 100% the black and the white, but there also is the little bit of gray space as well.
Yeah. Chana, a lot of obviously big corporations not far from where you're at are you able to stay in Arkansas? Are you looking to relocate? What's your situation? Are you open to
Good question. I would like to stay. I've been here for almost 23 years, so I'm pretty firmly planted. I have great community around me, and I'd like to stay. But with COVID proving that work can be done remote, I think that is possible. I wouldn't mind if you travel out to a company, once a quarter, a couple times a quarter. I think that would be doable.
Yeah.
But I would like to be a remote employee.
And have you targeted anyone in the area? Are you doing a targeted search right now, or what?
I have. I've had some interviews. I've been 1 and 2 on the top list, but obviously the people I've been told, you were great, you interviewed well, we were really impressed with you. However, we're giving it to this person because they know the systems. That was the last experience I had. And I'm thinking, why can't you teach me those systems? Then I could be just as good. So that's what I'm running into.
That's a tough thing, to say. I think a lot of things are just easy to teach. So now they just have to decide, just to hire someone because they know this and they might not be a better candidate. It happens often. But maybe all things being equal, they might want someone who already knows it. So that's a tough go. And without having, obviously you can improve and learn things on your own if that's something that you're targeting. What have you been doing to kind of improve? What have you been doing with your time that you found useful that some other people might find useful?
I have I'm doing some contract work. So that's, occupying my time. So when they ask that question, I'm able to say, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I've got those positions, sheer networking. Northwest Arkansas has a very, very strong networking community. So obviously it's been Zoom, but we're starting to go back to in person, of course, with the rules in place. And so I've just picked up these contracting work just by networking. And I'm sorry, Matt, what was the second part of your question?
Just stuff that you found useful. I mean, what's been useful networking for you?
Well, the networking, obviously, but I've been just trying to keep current on skills. Like Workday is very important right now in a lot of companies. So I've just been watching, videos and talking to people who do that. And so just keeping current on skills. LinkedIn, I think it was another person you had on earlier, doing some of those LinkedIn trainings and just doing what I need to do just to try to stay current and talk intelligently.
It's crazy how many people I've met who are looking for work or in a certain industry and are not on LinkedIn and not using it. It is unbelievable how good it is of a platform it is right now. And that's not to say that there's not others, but you should try and leverage as much as you can. But I think the people on LinkedIn are very gracious with their time. Can be, it might not get you a job, but that conversation you had might lead you to the next job, or it might give you an idea where you just hop on a brainstorming like, hey, have you done this? Have you done that? What's worked?
Right.
What hasn't worked for you? And then kind of trade stories and share. I don't have to be looking for work to be able to offer some pretty good advice, I think, in your job search. Or so I think that's, it's good that you're ahead of the game, I think, and you're doing the right things. Obviously, everyone just needs someone to say yes. It only takes one. What's been something that's frustrated you that you hope the industry would do better? We've heard a lot of the same stuff, but is there anything out there that you think people can do better to help the people who are looking for work?
I think one of the things, and I mentioned it earlier, like no one wants to teach someone the job. They just want them to come in, here's your stuff and go. And I can respect that because the world moves quickly and we need to too. But you miss a lot of good candidates because you're not willing to take that extra time. So maybe, I don't know how the industry can change that, but maybe it's the perception of the hiring managers.
Yeah.
That's tough.
It could be different per industry. I think that we need to kind of get away from a resume. And, why can't I send you my LinkedIn profile and you look at it? I understand that there's keywords that people are looking on and there's formats, but I think you got to kind of be able to look beyond the resume in a way. I know there's technology out there that's doing it. There's obviously some discrimination type things that people, have to try and be careful about.
Sure.
But, I think you can get creative and get someone's attention to get them to your resume also. I think there's opportunity for that. And we've had some good examples and people having, Caitlin has a Wix site and Canva and Portfolio and Linktree. I think Carla who had a Linktree?
Carla had a Linktree. Yeah. One of the things Jana hit on that Caitlin talked about too, which I think is really important for people to understand, is LinkedIn and also Google, but LinkedIn is a little more diverse in what they offer, have free certifications and free classes. So that's what Jana was mentioning, is that she's been taking online courses through LinkedIn. Google's got them as well. You can get digital certifications. I'm sure they've got more than just that. I haven't looked much further in the Google. They're free. And they're really good to keep yourself, keep your brain going, keep your knowledge going, right. But also to show that you've been doing something. And Sarah's shaking her head. Yes. To show you've been doing something productive with the time that you have. Right. So you're not just sitting there going, okay, well, things move so fast in this world. Right. So once you're unemployed for a year, which, a lot of us are coming up on, once you're unemployed for a year, something could have changed in that year that is completely different now. Algorithms or Facebook or Twitter or whatever it is, or something on the HR operations side could have changed. So showing that you're being proactive and taking these classes and keeping up with what is changing in the industry and putting that on your resume for me feels like something that's really, really valuable.
Yeah, I feel like going back to someone you applied and didn't get could be a good thing to do. You never know. A year later, they might be looking for someone else new. Whoever they hired didn't work out, and if you were in that, top 2 or 3 candidates, they might want to take a look at you. Maybe their budget's opened up. They want to expand, and you can get in before. A lot of it's with timing, and not, if you can get on their radar before they open it up and have 200 so candidates. It's that would be good.
I do something sometimes that's a bit of a torture to myself, so I don't suggest everybody doing it. But when I don't get a job, I have in the past, wait a couple weeks and then go onto their LinkedIn page to see who did get the job. And I will look at that person's LinkedIn, and I can tell you, for me, sometimes it's actually like refreshing. And we talked about not knowing reasons. I was turned down for a job. I would have had to move to the East Coast for it. I know that they didn't necessarily have the budget to pay me the amount of money. They ended up hiring somebody who already lived in Pittsburgh. She was younger than me, and she had previously worked for the same company as the hiring manager had previously worked for. All kind of makes sense after that, right? So to Matt's point, you might see that that the person who they hired over you for a past job isn't there anymore. So you never know.
True.
Yeah, I think that could be good. Anything else you want to tell people? I know you've had a pretty wide range of experience and now have some really good experience with Walmart, which is everyone knows Walmart, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
Jen, are you connected to Chris Moore? I don't think you are. We've had Chris on.
Ma'am.
You are? Okay, because he's in Rogers near you, and a lot of what he posts are sales-based jobs, but he's constantly posting jobs a lot of them are based in your area.
Yeah, he posted a lot of CPG jobs, which are more analytic based. Respect the field, but I don't think that's something that I want to do day in and day out.
Yep.
Yeah, I just think also looking at all these jobs that people are posting, and I mentioned this before, it might just be a company you never heard of that might be offering something that you in a space that you need. So maybe take a look at the company and see if that's someone you'd like to work for and target them. It's always new, so many. The jobs I had that I've gotten, I didn't even know existed before I had them. I'm like, well, obviously someone has this job because it's a thing, but I had no idea it even was a thing. And now with COVID, there's so many more new things coming. Is there anything we always talk about on here, people wanting to brag on themselves a little bit? Is there something in a program or something you're proud of that you did back in the day? At Walmart, or maybe one of your newer ones that you'd like to tell people about?
Sure. I think it might be a hidden skill that a lot of people don't have, but in all the positions that I've had, I really look at the processes and I try to see how we can do them better and more efficiently, because time is money. So if there's a process that takes currently 10 steps, and if I can whittle it down to 7 steps and still get the same effect, that's important. That saves maybe, 3 steps time. How many people times, the output could be great and they could be spent doing something else. And so I'm able to look at things and make the processes hopefully better, but more streamlined as well.
Streamline is always going to be important. Well, we appreciate you coming on here. We put your LinkedIn. Is there any other place that people can find you, or something else that you want to share or contact, or social media that you're active on?
Not at this time. LinkedIn's the primary.
It's not a bad primary to have.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jana. Let us know how we can help, and let us know how you do, and hope to hear some good news soon.
Me too. Thanks,
you, Jana.
Thanks.
Have a good day.
We are going to bring on Randy, my friend Randy Stolinas. Randy, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, good to see you. As always, you and I have talked a little bit about looking for work, and I've been trying to help you and giving you some good tips. I've seen that you've been more active, but tell everybody who you are and what you're looking for, and where you've been in the industry, because you've had some pretty good jobs at some pretty high profile companies, specifically in the sports world.
Well, first, thanks for having me, and thanks, Jill. We've connected earlier too, and you've helped me out with some things, pointing in certain directions. So I appreciate that.
Of course.
For the past 20 years, I've worked for Majestic / Fanatics. I was lead creative there, where I did screen print apparel graphics. When I first started Majestic, we worked on all different leagues: NFL, MLB, NHL, NBA, you name it, we did it. And then when VF took over in 2008, I worked in the concessions area. So we helped all the Major League Baseball teams. So I worked mostly with Major League Baseball. So the teams would contact us and say they had an event, they needed a T-shirt for it, or they had some other things going on. Whatever it was, they contacted us, and we would create graphics for them, and working directly with the buyers. And then when Fanatics took over in 2017, I was part of the, at first it was the Under Armour brand and on field, and then it became a Nike brand. So under Fanatics, I worked for Under Armour and Nike at 2 different points. But generally just designing graphics for apparel. But I mean, there was other times where we had to come up with logos for special events for MLB, and they would come to us for that. Sometimes just SMUs. There was all sorts of things, but I was lead designer, and they would come to me, and I would probably be a part of it. Also, like many of the All-Star Game BPs, I was part of that too, even though it wasn't screen print. But yeah, I mean, that's generally what I did. I mean, it was fast-paced, quick-turn environment for the most part, though.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, those are the companies that are big time in the sports world. Can you talk a little bit about, because obviously you're in graphics, you're in design. Talk a little bit about the difference between the print for the shirts and some other stuff. Does it not matter? What are you proficient in? What do you say you're best at? And we're going to put your Behance and Weebly. Which one is better, the Behance or the Weebly?
Behance is, I guess, more of my most recent stuff that I've done.
Okay.
But I mean, the Weebly site has like all the historic stuff that I've done over the years. So there's a wide range of things there. Well, generally, I'm a screen print artist, so it seems like there's a lot of jobs for website design, motion design. I'm used to creating product, so that's sort of foreign to me, like the website and the motion, and that sort of thing that's out there that I'm finding jobs for. And I think eventually, once I do find a job, I'm going to have to go back and learn some of this stuff. But at the moment, it's pretty tough. It's frustrating.
Randy's incredibly talented, by the way. Incredibly. You guys need to go look at his
great. I tell him all the time, his stuff is great. He's got to brag more. He's got to put it out more.
My mother has a Randy Stolinas autograph in her house now from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Randy did work for Ticket Time Machine. He did a great job, and I would recommend him to anyone who's looking for someone in graphics, and it doesn't have to be a print. I think, when you have the vision and you combine that with the skill, I think it's very, I think anyone should take a look at Randy. We've got a lot of good graphics people that I would recommend, and I reached out to him, and Randy's at the top of the list with them. So, it's good to look at a Behance, and I think one of the things that I told Randy to do is to show some of that new stuff that you're doing, because it's very obvious the skill you had in the past with the T-shirts and the highlighting, but people need to know that that's not all you can do, that you can do this other stuff. Have you done some sort of contract work or projects? What are you doing to keep yourself sharp and busy?
Well, when I was first laid off, I made the promise. It's like, I got to get up every morning, and I'm just going to treat it like a work day, and I'm just going to start to create some things. So that's what I did, and that's what I've been doing. But I've been out of work for a year now, and I've created a number of different things. I've found out a lot about myself in that time too. But going back to like freelance work and stuff, when I was working at Fanatics, on the side, I started to get into doing some poster work. So I did some poster work for Phenom Gallery, where we would do sports posters for arenas, stadiums, and events. And I was involved with that, where we would do limited edition prints, numbered and signed, and they would send them to the arenas, those stadiums, or sell them on e-commerce themselves. And so that was, good as a side gig. And then when I, lost my job, I started to do a little bit more of that. But then when COVID hit, the sports world sort of stopped, and that didn't help things either. So I wasn't doing much of that up until hopefully things are going to pick up this year. People going to stadiums, that sort of thing. So I recently did a WrestleMania poster and a Super Bowl poster, which I'm going to post on LinkedIn at some point, probably this week or next week. So hopefully, I'll be able to show some more stuff and get to see some of the things I've been working on.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of fan art, and I think that's kind of in line with what you do. I've purchased customized fan art commissions, put it in my office and my man cave. But it's a big, I think it's a category that's getting very big right now. And there's so many ways that you can work within the industry, whether it's the players, the T-shirts, the companies themselves, like Fanatics. Is there someone? I know we've maybe touched on this. Is there someone that you're targeting? Is there any sort of these companies or types of jobs that you're coveted?
There's been a number of places I sent to, and I just haven't heard back, and I don't know what it is. I hate to say it, but I look like a young guy, but I've been doing this for over 25 years, so I think that sort of hurts me. Just having a little more age, which I don't know. It sort of sucks because I got a lot of knowledge and talent, and someone's missing out there. I could help you out.
I can attest to that. I think, I don't know, I'm not sure. Is everyone looking for someone who's cheaper? I don't know, someone who's less experienced, and they maybe want to frame, a lot of these people are looking for them to be like, hey, here's what I want you to do, go do it, instead of, hey, here's what I want, go do and show me what you can get, which is obviously something that you can do better than just saying, okay, here's what we need to do, just recreate it. But I think, keep putting your work out there. That's what I would say. I encourage you to come on here. I know this was something that you were hesitant to.
Yeah, you had to give me a push.
It's easy. It's really easy to come on here. We're going to help talk, ask you the right questions and have you be able to brag on yourself for a little bit and talk about what exactly you're looking for. And I probably have a dozen people that I've talked to that says, I don't really want to go on camera. And it's a step more than what someone else is doing. And it just could help be that difference. And that, whether it's going on camera or doing that extra post or doing a project that you're like, maybe I shouldn't, any of that stuff could really lead to what you're looking for. And one of the advantages that you have is you can show someone what you've done. Like if I'm in sales, I could talk about all the awards I've gotten, and it doesn't mean anything. It could be funny math, right? Your gold club in this company could be way different than the gold club in that company. But you have a portfolio, which we have up here in the Weebly and the Behance. And when you go post something on LinkedIn or wherever it is, I see you on Instagram, you have something that's saying, look, I did this. And, you should take a look at this because I could do this for you and your company could use this. Because I've seen a lot of terrible graphics out there, just lazy stuff, not updated, and they probably could use someone like you. So, that would be my advice, to keep just putting content out there, because your content it's much better than a lot of other people have for two reasons: the quality of the content, but just what you're looking for. That content is what people are going to see to be like, look, how many interviews do I need to do? You've seen this. This is what I do. Right.
I've worked with a lot of graphic designers, haven't been on the agency side for a long time. And I got to say, Randy is by far, I will sing his praises all the way because I just love what he does. And I think his artwork is just so good. Like I said, I literally saw him post something. He did a whole series on small towns in Pennsylvania. My mom happened to be from one. I was blown away. My mom loved it. It's just one of these things where just his work is just so transferable. He can literally do a Stanley Cup poster one day and, do a city hall the next day. So
obviously your background's in sports. We see you're a big sports fan, Pittsburgh guy. Have you looked outside of sports at all? Is that something? I know you'd love to have a job. Is that something you're not really interested in? Either way.
I have. I mean, I've applied to a number of different things, and like I said, it's been tough hearing back from people. Even Jill sent me an opportunity last week or the week before, and I applied to it, and they came right back and they said, "No, sorry."
Yeah. Well, that's better than not getting anything. I know everyone's really disappointed about not hearing back, and especially when you've had an interview. I'm not talking about if you don't hear back from someone and you're one of 300 people who applied and they never got back to you. I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying I understand that. But once you've had a conversation with someone, once you've been in the interview process and you're following up, which I assume everyone is doing, right? Following up, there's got to be something that compels them to reply, because we've all been on that end, and it's just nobody wants to have that. It's tough. Is there something that you've done in the last year or so that you found helpful for you? Obviously, you said you wake up every day. That's great. You wake up and treat it like a work day, almost like forget who it was. It was probably in a movie or show where they didn't tell their wife that they got laid off and they were going to work every day. But that's great to
seen that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I forget to do it. But anything you've seen, anything you've been doing to keep busy that you would recommend to others?
Well, earlier last year, I did a poster series for Amplifier. Amplifier was they had an open call for COVID-19 posters just to create awareness as like a public service. So they were asking people to develop graphics for that and posters and just to create awareness. And out of those 10,000 entries, they chose three of my graphics as a campaign. And they use that, at certain points throughout the year. And at one point, one of them actually got into the Library of Congress, so that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Is that on your resume and LinkedIn?
Yeah, it should be, and it's on my. I have like a whole story on Behance about it, so you can check that out.
How'd you get into graphics?
I don't know. Just growing up, I was just drawing. You drew, but as I was getting older, it's like, well, how does this transfer into a job? So I wanted to get into commercial art, graphic design. It's like, yeah, that's where I got to go, I guess. So,
what were you drawing? Was there something like something
sports? Isn't it funny? It's really funny. I mean, I drew sports and stuff growing up, and it just so happened I fell into a sports job when I got out of school, and then it led into another sports licensing job, and then another one. So that's what I've been doing practically my whole career. So and it's funny how it all worked out that way, but yeah, it's been a good run so far. Hopefully, got to keep it going.
Yeah, and keep the contract work up going, and a job here, a job there. It keeps you sharp. It keeps your everything you do is should go right in your portfolio. I told you the stuff you did for me. Put it right in that portfolio and show someone, hey, this is what I was doing. It's not always like I can't afford to hire a full-time graphics person, but I certainly need one, and there will be a time when I'm going to need one. So there's just people could use that, but they can't use it full time. But if I'm interning, if I'm doing a project for you, all of that stuff, put it on your resume and talk about it and use it as far as you can use it, because it's part of who you are and what you're doing. I think we asked you this, but was there anything in sports that would be your dream job?
That's tough to say. I don't know. You know, I did apply to Tops, you know, a couple times already. You know, and it's like growing up, it's like that was one of the things that was popular. And it's like, you know, I was always into the baseball cards and stuff like that. So
I hear they don't pay their artists very well because there's just too many people wanting to do it.
I'm sure that's how it is. But
I don't know if that's a bad thing because you can submit your stuff. Sarah, you had some.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Randy, I think there's two things that are happening with you. I think people are assuming automatically that you're going to be out of their comp range and that you're qualified. And then I think the second piece, and you kind of discussed it already, I think just educating yourself on the digital space is what's going to make you stand apart also, because I mean, like, we have a senior graphic designer role open right now, I know, and all of our candidates are 100% on the digital side. Now, some of our clients do need print too, but like 80% of the work is on the digital side. So that's where I think the difference is between some candidates and others.
I agree.
Yeah, he did some good work in digital work for me too. It's not just, it's like his stuff is kind of a combination between the draw it out and then put it to life, which is, we've had some other artists. It's very impressive skill to be able to do that. You know, there's it's amazing. It's like some of the people you see on the street that are drawing stuff that are just incredible, and you're like, you see so many people, whether it's someone on the street singing or writing, that have this skill, and you know they're in the position with Randy. They just need to get noticed by the right person to have it all work out. And you know, he's been very lucky in the past to have some great jobs and to, you know, be talented enough to get it where it needs. And I think you just need that break again. You know, it'll be here sooner than later. I think you're doing the right things. I think there's a lot of people who are happy to help and willing to share. And so anything we can do to help, just let us know.
I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, absolutely.
And yeah, let's put his stuff up here again. The Behance. If you want to see his work, you don't have to take our word for it. It's right there on the website.
But take our word for it. It's also really good. You should look at it.
and Randy, that's how you're a step ahead of the game, because I know I've had some graphic designers apply for the role who literally have no portfolio, and that's a problem.
Yeah, it's and you can do any good resume writers. Connect with us. We have some people who can help you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have some people who can take a look and help you out. And if you're looking, we got a few minutes. If you want to come on and talk about what you're looking for, we're happy to bring you on. We got a few more minutes left, so let us know.
I'll be right back.
We'll get you the link. But yeah, connect with Jill and all of us if you want. But we do have some good people who can help you with the resume. Randy, anything else you want to share and talk about? Something that you're obviously, that COVID poster is great. Anything else that you worked on that really, that you were proud to do and want to tell people about?
Just working on some of my own things. I have an Etsy store now where I create some of my own products, my own posters, and
nice.
That's what I've been doing lately, just to keep busy, keep sharp, and trying to do my own thing too.
Have you done any commissions? I mean, I know there's a lot of people who would like to have something specific for themselves who might be a big sports fan, or maybe they know someone who's a big sports fan, and there's gift season coming up or towards the end of the year.
Well, I forgot to mention, this just happened this past week. One of the persons from a town close by, Nazareth, PA, she purchased a couple of my posters last year, and she contacted me and she had a great idea. She said, why don't you come up with a poster for the town of Nazareth, and we could sell it and do some other things with it. And I said, sure, yeah, I'm on board. So I created a poster. They're going to unveil it in the first of May. And they asked me, well, why don't you do an art show too? So I'm going to do an art show on the 2nd. So on the May 1st, they're having a farmer's market where they're unveiling the poster that I did. And then on May 2nd, I'm having an art opening in Nazareth at the museum, their art center.
That's it's good to, I like to hear that you're getting a little bit out of your comfort zone. And I know it's tough out there, but that's going to really put you ahead of, some other people there who are just, resting on their laurels to say, my stuff is good and someone's just going to look at it and want to hire me, which could happen. Like, it's very visual.
I'm doing everything I can.
No, I think you're doing the right things, and the opportunity again. You're not going to be looking for work forever. I think it's very fortunate to be able to do what you're doing to kind of keep yourself afloat, which is tough. Some people have to take a full job that takes them away from the job search, and that's a very critical thing that people have to work because they need money, and it's like it's not that easy when you're working to find the job. To be able to have the time. They always say, they used to say, don't leave your job until you have another one, but it's a lot easier to find what you're looking for when you can go. Now with virtual, it's a little bit different, but go on interviews and spend all the time, connecting with people. It's tough. So I think you're in a good position. We look forward to hearing how the art show goes, and I have, we'll talk about any stuff that I might be able to help you out with, and just keep looking at job posts and maybe, from someone you didn't do that you haven't seen before. And that's all I got for you. Anything else, Sarah and Joe?
Well, things are great.
Man. Always good to see you. And
yeah, thank you very much for everything. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Randy.
We're rooting for you, and you got some great work. So look at his behalf and his Weebly and hire this man.
Thanks.
We're gonna let him go. And Meredith, I don't know if you're watching or available to come on. We got a few minutes if you want to come on, or anyone else wants to come on and highlight themselves, or put some stuff in the comments, and then we'll call it a day. We got a long show here, Sarah. We really appreciate you being here.
Yes, thank you, Sarah.
I just want to say two things that I was thinking of. One of them was when I think Jana was on, and you were saying, Matt, like the whole someone can learn skills and stuff like that. I will tell you, the biggest argument I have with hiring managers sometimes is, look, you can't teach someone how to be empathetic. You can't teach someone how to have a work ethic, and you can't teach someone how to be nice. But you can teach them how to use Google and how to use Word and whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so I do firmly believe that it's hard getting through to hiring managers sometimes on the fact that these soft skills that you want someone to have, if they have those 100% and they're missing that teeny little piece maybe on the technical side, we can teach that. The technical piece is way easier to do than the soft skill piece.
But on the flip side of that, if the candidates are right here, you're going to hire the one who already knows it. So it is tough. It works both ways. That's why I think, if you can learn and teach yourself some new skills that maybe other people don't have that can put you a leg up, I think that's good. And the other thing?
Yeah, the other thing is someone brought up the word culture fit, which I think is sometimes not the right word to use, because you may not see yourself as 100% of a culture fit. That doesn't mean that it's not the right role and the right company for you. So I think sometimes we have to be really careful using the word culture fit, because every company's culture is changing. I can tell you my organization's company culture has changed tremendously in the past year due to an acquisition, as well as all the diversity and inclusion work we've been doing. So I think culture fit sometimes is not the right word.
And also, you might not have any idea what the culture is like. It might be totally different than what you think, and that's similar with anything. The job, you really don't know what you're getting into until you get there. So you're kind of taking a chance on them the same way they're taking a chance on you. And it's don't assume anything. I think ask questions, maybe talk to someone who's there, but also they might be jaded, or they might be someone who's so enamored with what's going on wherever that they are, their vision is clouded about what's going on. You mentioned a few times that your company is hiring. What are they hiring for?
Yeah, so right now we are hiring for an accounting manager. So if anyone's interested in that role, that's also up. We're hiring for a senior designer out of our Charlotte office. We're also hiring for, I'm trying to think off the top of my head now, a content manager out of our Charlotte office, a junior account strategist out of our Charlotte office. We kind of have kind of been all across the board. An analyst out of our New York office. That's the big one we're working on right now. So if you know anyone who qualifies, it's teamwhistle.com if anyone wants to go to the careers page and see more. But yeah, and I will say, like, that's the funny thing is I've heard all these stories about the ghosting and everything like that. And it's really disappointing to me. And so I hope anyone who does apply does know it's not a generic email that you're getting. I'm the one who actually sends the email myself. My actual email goes to everyone. So if they respond, it actually comes right back to my email address. And I do reply to anyone who's responded back to me. I do think there is this feeling right now of things are just going out in the universe and never being looked at, but they are 100% being looked at my company, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel, I think there's a lot of it takes a long time to get a response from certain companies. And then you've got companies like yours who are proactive. And I think that there's a lot of lessons that bigger companies can learn from the smaller companies that you feel like they're doing it right. There's a couple years back, I applied for a job and I got a personal email from someone saying, no, thank you, or whatever they said. And I'd never done this before. And I actually replied to her and I said, I'm curious because I feel like this is a really good fit for me. And she wrote me back. She goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You weren't supposed to get that email. She's like, we actually liked your resume. So you never know.
Yeah. Just being out there, being persistent, get content, get visibility, stay positive. We have this event so we can highlight people, but also just so they can see what other people are going through, that to know that they're not alone, to know that, the job is out there. You're not going to be unemployed forever. And there's plenty of people out there who want to help. Obviously, everyone who I bring on the panel, Joe and I bring on, are people who want to help. But there's just so many other people who want to help. And helping is easy. It's just a matter of clicking a button that could really change someone's life around. And coming on this show might change someone's life around for the 5-10 minutes that are at. We'll probably do another one. I know Jill's got some stuff going on, so we'll see. We wish her luck.
I'm having back surgery in 2 weeks, though.
So
pretty major back surgery. That's why I keep moving around.
Good luck and good health. And Sarah, we're happy to help you any way we can. We appreciate your time. I'll give you guys each a last go before we head out.
I was saying, Matt, do you know how I connected with you? Because I was going to say, I think he's the biggest connector of all connectors.
Who's that?
Oh my God, why am I blanking on his name now? Tim McGee. Because he does the weekly, if anyone listens to McGee, he does this weekly positive vibes thing. So at the end of every week, if you have a shout out to a friend or family member, he does it, and then he does a positive, like things that have happened this week that are positive about COVID. So yeah, that's how I connected with you.
Yeah, Tim he's a great connector. He actually he was supposed to come on to the Wolf Den, but he had to cancel, so we're going to reschedule. But Tim does a highlight. He highlights people, that you recommend. So give someone a shout out. Makes them feel good. Makes you feel good. Gets them out there a little bit more. We got Camera here. She's looking for sports and live events. We will get you on next time, but here's her LinkedIn in case anyone is looking. We will have another one, and we're going to post this and highlight his LinkedIn for Tim McGee.
Tim McGee. I just connected with him because I actually am not connected with him, which is surprising.
Tim is great. And
Matt talked about how your like and your click and your everything, how that connects so many more people. I think that's the beauty of Tim is every person that he then tags in his posts then gets millions of more views. So, and that's the whole point of LinkedIn in general, but it's really nice when someone continuously does it every week.
Tim is going to love us or hate us, but is out there. He does, I guess you honor people on Monday or on Friday, but then he takes recommendations. Send him a private message. I had a team player of the week that I was doing. Jill was my first one. So if there's someone out there who you think is doing a great job helping people and you want to recognize them, shoot me a message. We're happy to get that going again. But Tim is great. He does positive stuff and some good news. Doug, who was on in the first hour, does some positive news. I think it's just the thing is, you see people doing things, and then you just want to be like, I want to be a part of that, and I want to do something like that. And that's kind of where I got the team player of the week was from Tim, and I know Doug got his stuff from Tim, and I got the idea of doing this thing in our Learning LinkedIn events from Jill when she was highlighting people, and Andrew Haynes, who couldn't be with us today, he does Free Agent Fridays, and Jen Corsilli, she posts. I mean, if she got paid $1 for every job she shared, she wouldn't have to work ever again.
Right, she wouldn't.
Lee Meltzer doing some great things. He does posting jobs, and so it's just everyone. If we could do our part to help others, because it's the right thing to do, because we would want people to do that for us, because it'll probably help you out in the long run also. And it's not to say you should do it because of that, but that's what I take away from all of this. And so we appreciate you coming on. And
yes, thank you, Sarah.
Connected, Sarah and Jill. We wish you good luck. Tell us some good news and some good tips as we close this out.
Yeah, I think we mentioned a couple of them, which is use those LinkedIn free classes to keep yourself, in the loop. Make sure it's on your resume. Google as well. Google digital certification actually takes a while to get. It's about 40 hours of coursework, which, if you're doing other things, takes a couple of weeks. But make sure that's also on your resume if that's appropriate for you, of course. Don't be afraid. One of the things we talked about, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask people for recommendations. The worst you can hear is no. And that doesn't mean that they don't want to help you. That means maybe they can't, or they don't know the person well enough. So no is not a rejection. There may be reasons for that. I think I always bring this one up, and we brought it up way earlier today, which is always send a thank you note. I'm from the old school. I know I look 21 years old. No, I lived in New York for 10 years after college, and I would go, when I had job interviews, I would have a handwritten card. I still have the cards in this desk drawer next to me, and I had a stamp on it already, and I had my return address on it already, and I would stick it in the closest mailbox. Now, I know we don't really do that anymore. It takes a couple days to get there, but even if I just have a phone interview, even if it's just informational, if it's just the HR person filling out whether I am a good fit to go any further, I always send a thank you note, why you're good for the job, why you think you're a good fit. If they said something that triggers you, if you forgot to send a portfolio the first time, it's a good way to follow up. I always take notes when I have interviews, and I make sure they know I'm taking notes, so they see that I'm prepared. And to Sarah brought this point up earlier, I think it's funny that you mentioned it. A couple years back, I interviewed somebody, and I called the guy for a phone interview, and he's like, "Sorry, what company was this?" He's like, "I just sent my resume to like 100 people already, so I can't keep track." If that's your problem, that's a huge problem. So I try to look up companies before I apply, so I know what I'm getting myself into. You can't always do that. You don't always have the time to do that. But if you have an interview, you need to treat it like it's a project that you are working on. Make sure you've done the research. Have that website up while you're talking to the person, but make sure that you're not relying on it. You should know this information already. And the other thing I always do, which is I have a list of follow-up questions that I keep on a spreadsheet, or on a Word doc. And I will kind of create another Word doc when I know, like, some of them are appropriate for an agency, some of them are not appropriate for an agency. So I will pick and choose which ones I think are appropriate. I print that out, and I have that next to me when I'm being interviewed. So when they say, "Do you have any follow-up questions?" you have them, because there's probably something they haven't said. I usually have about 10 questions on my list. I'll ask like 3 or 4 of them if there's time. So.
Yeah, perfect. All good advice. Check out lilearningsession.com for all of our previous episodes. We have some PowerPoints or PDFs that have some good advice. You'll be able to see who our previous panelists were. We encourage you to connect with them. I know Meredith was looking for some good resume writers, so I don't know, Jill, if you could reach out to her.
Meredith, connect with me, but also the very first one, if people haven't watched that, was incredibly valuable from a job hunting standpoint, and not so much like what we were doing here today. So we have all of them are good, but the very first one had some really, really valuable information. So it is worth like taking an hour to watch that one if you haven't. There is a link if you go into the website, lilearningsession.com, and then you hit past events, there is a link to the YouTube. Just click, it'll say click here for YouTube. Click right on that. It'll take you right out to the YouTube event.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe we do a hiring learning LinkedIn where we have people on who are hiring and let them talk about the jobs they have, and the people can come in the comments. So we're gonna brainstorm that, and we'll figure it out. Sarah, Jill, thanks.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for your time.
I think it's
Matt, as always, pleasure.
Well, next time, keep an eye open for our next event, and share this event when we share it and like it, so we can get visibility to all the candidates. Some great candidates today, great candidates last time, and there'll be great candidates moving forward. So have a great night, and we'll talk to everyone soon.
Thanks, guys.